Your event is starting.
No.
Woohoo!
Prove it. Prove it, YouTube. You're probably just lying to us to get our hopes up.
We're watching YouTube.
Hey!
Woohoo!
Prove it. See, that was really
Prove it,
creepy.
YouTube.
It was kind of like,
Probably
hey, YouTube, prove the thing. And it literally comes up with, even though we were live, this event ain't starting for another 12 minutes. It's like, no, we're starting now. We are live, YouTube. You live.
Yeah.
And then it turns up. YouTube then catches up. YouTube's kind of it's the dimwit in the tech department, isn't it?
He's the one who's on work experience.
So, no, you were supposed to let that go through.
Yeah, this is the work experience boy, yeah.
You know that power plug, you know that power cable you just yanked?
Oh, I've got to just trust my t-shirt. So everybody can see my Dare 6 t-shirt I bought for £8 off Amazon.
GG.
Because there's no calls for it. Well, I don't recognise the logo.
I wonder how many people would actually know.
Do you want to know what my sister thought this was a logo of? No, if you can guess what she thought this was,
I ain't that good.
just have one guess. This is a woman, I will just tell you, it's the tone of
It's
this.
dog shite.
This is a woman who, a few days ago, came out with, has anyone seen my Wi-Fi cable?
Bless her. Bless her.
She thought this was a sort of like a, well, you know when these t-shirts, they sort of take a famous logo and then sort of
Oh,
distorted.
yeah.
She thought this was like a retro distorted Playboy bunny logo.
Wow. Congratulations.
I said, do you really think that's what I would wear? Do I look like the person who'd read a Playboy magazine?
Wow.
I read Farmers Weekly.
There you go.
That's got a page 3. It's mainly cows. But
Yeah, not quite the same.
the odd
thing,
goat
is
and a
it?
sheep in there. But
It's not quite the same.
no. So, anyway, I'm the Suffolk Crown.
Yes.
Well, it's episode 92.5 for reasons.
Yeah, for good
Yeah.
reasons. This, in the audio version, this intro would have completely disappeared. and
Oh
it
no,
would
I'll
be
have this at
spot
the
on.
end.
Yeah.
I'll have this bit to the end. That'll really throw 'em.
And they'll be like, what?
Yeah. So yeah, the audio listeners won't understand what happened. They'll think it's all perfectly smooth. Because I released the podcast on the Saturday after we broadcast, which means I'll be up tomorrow morning
Yeah, take it away.
editing this to get this ready to be released tomorrow, if I'm able to release it. Unlike the one before 24 Live that I forgot to
My
release.
phone's ringing.
Oh,
Here we
not,
go.
Not again.
Here we go.
Oh no, not again.
You've got
Said
to
the bowl of petunias. Sorry guys. If there's anyone watching this. Hey! Someone's watching us. Hello! Sky's just answering the phone. Probably a call centre. Telling he's got PPI. Maybe he's not got PPI. Perhaps I want to speak to him, like, I don't know, about, something they think he did like 10 years ago. Or perhaps it's Microsoft wanting to fix his computer. Who knows? But he's on his phone at the moment, so we'll see what happens. But I promise we'll start shortly. So, oh, it sounds like it's finishing off.
That was my Spud saying night night.
Oh, bless him.
Yeah, bless him.
Bless him.
Little scrubs.
Bless him. So my top theory was A, it was trying and convince you to get PPI, or it was Microsoft wanting to talk about a problem with your computer.
Also, they can encrypt everything.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's
normal.
an yes. We're here now. So audio viewers won't know this has happened. It'll be nice spliced together. It'll be seamless.
Yep.
I don't know what stage you got to with your discussion last one.
No, we basically finished my chat on East, I think.
Cool.
Literally near enough on the button that I really enjoyed.
Excellent.
I've actually still been playing it this last week. I'm now about 55, 60 hours in. I should have finished it a long time ago. This is East 8, by the way. Is it Lacrimosa Obdana?
Evening, Tom.
Yeah, should have finished that. Well, I should have finished it by now, but it's one of the few games I've been playing recently that I actually won 100%. So I'm about 93% through the game now.
Excellent. Minimizer just joined us in the chat. I would say, given what happened on Wednesday, Minimizer would be able to join us now on the podcast because the England team lost the five-a-side.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, it's good. So yeah, Middlemeister could be joining us on a pod. Will be joining us on a podcast in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ian Middlemeister. Okay, well I'll carry on where we left off in Bind 1. So mainly last week, but most partly this week, mainly last week, I've been playing a game called The Forest.
Oh right, yeah.
Did
you not stream some of that?
I streamed a total of 8 hours of The Forest-ish, which has both been transferred to the channel, which I will release on the channel when I get round to changing the title.
Sure.
It's a high production value, you know, change the title, click
Well,
public.
yeah, that's what I do on my stream bots. I was like, I could edit these, but
Bye.
no. Bless him, he's gone.
Bless you gone. Yeah, so it's a survival game.
It looks very Ark-like.
It is. It did make me think of Ark when I played it. You know, I like my survival games. I like survival games where it feels everything always feels like you're against it, up against it. And so for The Forest, I have to say, is one of the few that has felt quite quickly that you are against it. Ark, I found, was within like 2-3 hours you're really quite set. It was too generous, actually. It was too generous in giving you resources.
Yes.
So you don't do a lot of work and get lots of resources. And, you know, within like a couple of hours I had a hut built, you know, I had an island, I had plenty of food, plenty of water.
Well, I mean, the thing with Ark was I feel that it gives you too much, it gives you a feeling of safety far too quickly. And I mean, you should want to go further. So you want to go from like a thatch hut to like a stone hut to go to, you know, investigate technology, tame dinosaurs. But the trouble is, none of that really seemed very interesting anyway.
No. It's like, once I got myself set up, it's like, I don't really need to build what benefit will I have by building a better building? You know, I get plenty of sleep, I'm warm, I've got plenty of food. I'm just going to enjoy, you know, I'm just going to enjoy my time on the desert island. I think, just going to drink martinis and watch the world go by, and just actually, I mean, a lot of people would pay for that experience.
Yep.
Probably not the shitting inside the house experience, but you know. So there was no driving force in Ark to make you want to go on. There was like an end game, but there was nothing driving you towards it.
Yeah, there was no real push. There was nothing to really tempt you. That's what I found anyway. I played it and I was like, well, I've got a hut now, but now what do I do?
Well, that's true of a lot of survival games. I think people like the idea of a game where it's literally you've got to survive day to day and that's it. You survive day to day and there's no sort of central objective. Well, actually what I find is once you've got yourself set up, Simon Day becomes routine, and because your goal isn't just to, you say your goal is survive, well, it's not, because I can just save the game and leave it.
Yeah.
In reality, you have to keep going.
Yeah.
There's no driving force. The Forest has got a driving force in the way, because you start off the game, you're in a plane, and you're clearly travelling somewhere with your son, and the plane crashes for whatever reason, and something or some person takes your son. And you get a little objective, find Timmy.
Okay.
And that's your driving objective. Your driving objective is to try and find your son. So you're doing all this, and you've got a reason to keep going in, keep exploring, keep sort of exploring the world and diving deeper into the world. There's a reason for it.
Yeah.
Which makes it a lot more engaging because you've got a goal. What's also nice is, so whereas Ark was all about monsters in the wild and Long Dark was all about the wildlife and others, and soon it tends to be mainly sort of wildlife focused. In Forest, your main enemy is they're like these native cannibals,
right,
and also mutants.
Okay.
That live on the island, and they've got some very interesting AI. So they will, when you first meet you, they won't actually initially be very aggressive. They'll if you get like too close to like sort of their village stuff, they'll try and sort of threaten you a bit, and sort of they'll behave like you'd expect people to behave. They'll try and threaten you off, they'll try and scare you off rather than engage you. They might even do false charges. If, however, you start getting aggressive with them, you know, if it's something you can, you attack them and so forth, they'll get more aggressive with you, and you'll start encountering more tougher ones. What's also interesting is, if your base, you start setting up a bigger base. Like, so if you just have like a little basic hut and so forth, they'll probably not bother you too much. If you start fortifying a base, you know, making a really big fortification,
you're being threatened.
Now you're a threat, and they will start to try and take you on. They'll start invading you, and it becomes actually quite harrowing because they will attack you in the middle of the night. They don't care. So going to bed is a risk. Although apparently you can be woken up being attacked. I never happened to me. Every night I went to sleep, and nights are one of those games where the nights are long, That's all 20 minutes. That's all. I think it's about 25 minutes each side.
Oh,
20 minutes a day, 20 minutes a night. Because I did rate the night out once,
Yeah.
just to see what it was like, how dark it got, and it gets bloody dark.
Mhm.
You know, the point you can't actually. It's like having you might have the screen switched off.
Yeah.
Dark.
Well, that's what I liked. Just throwing out there, when a game actually does lighting properly, that's one of the things I liked about Shroud of the Avatar.
Yeah.
When shit got dark, you didn't see. Whereas in most games,
Yeah.
what they basically do is they give things a blue hue,
Yeah.
turn
Yes.
the brightness down a bit. That's nighttime. in most
Fallout.
games.
Fallout.
Yeah, that's it. And
Yeah.
World of Warcraft did it. You could still see perfectly.
It's just now it's purpley.
Yeah.
It's like when England's fan. It's basically everybody. At pre-time everybody puts all those little filter glasses on, which all cut out the green, the red, and what have you. They're left with purple,
That's it.
and that's what you see. No, I guess actually I think the first game I ever played that proper got dark in the night was Stalker. Stalker, Shadow of Snow, Call of Pripyat. No, yeah, Call of Pripyat.
Yeah, Pripyat.
That's the one where it got proper dark, and it was dangerous. Going out in the dark was very dangerous. So you'd find yourself like, if you come across a group of stalkers huddling around a fire, you would just spend the night with them. You would just sit there, wait for it to get light again, because it was dangerous to get out in the dark.
Yeah.
And that's why I like
Well,
this
as
game.
it is in real life.
Yeah. If you were to an island, it would get dark. I mean, I've camped places which are in the middle of a forest somewhere, and when it gets dark, it's lovely when it gets dark because you can actually, once your eyes adjust, you can see quite well. But when it gets dark, when the moon goes in, there's no sunlight. It is pitch black.
Yeah.
And it's really creepy, but also really beautiful in a way.
Yeah, sure.
Um,
I've had the same thing going on hiking trails, and you don't expect to be out as long as you were. You expected to be back at camp, before the sun went down. It turns out you fucked up somewhere, and
Yeah.
the sun's gone down. It's rocking around, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. You don't see a
Yeah.
damn thing.
I'm thinking of taking up hiking.
It's fun. It's fun.
I feel of doing that.
I want to do. As weird as it sounds, there's 3 peaks in the.
Yeah, the 3 Peak Challenge.
Yeah, I want to do that one, and I want to do Snowdon and Ben Nevis at some point.
Yeah.
It's just trying to find someone that's willing to do them.
I would like to have a go at hiking. I'm not sure if I'm fit enough for it, but I'd like to have a go at
Oh
it.
mate, if I can do 20 miles with a crippled left leg, no problem.
I've got no excuse.
Yeah. you should be fine. Like I did. Me and Chalky did a hike. I had a broken foot, and we still did 20 miles. So a couple of my mates have said no, it's way harder. Like doing 6 miles up is a lot harder than doing 20 miles straight. It's like yeah, but it's not. Even though it's only 6 miles up, it's not horribly steep.
No.
Up. So
I'm going to tell you an interesting fact here that I learned in college. If you have to travel, in your case, 6 miles up a gradient that, like say, a 10% gradient, or if you travel 6 miles up a 5% gradient, you'll spend the same amount of energy getting up there. I think it's interesting. Do you think you feel that more because you're getting higher quicker? You're getting more load put on you. Yeah, interesting. Anyway, back to the forest. Back to the forest. So
hiking.
So you set up a camp. I set up a camp initially on the island, and I did the usual thing. I just tried to get bigger, and that's when I started finding everyone was attacking me and so forth. And there were lots of days where it's like I'm running out of food, and I was literally just wandering around trying to find food or water, because you're surrounded by sea, but that's not drinkable because it's salt water.
Yeah, sure.
And you can make like rain collectors, but to make rain collectors you need tortoise shells.
Oh.
And it took me a long time to find a tortoise or turtle to kill to get its shell, and I felt bad about it, but it's fresh water.
There you go.
So I got it, set this there, and it collects water, and it collects quite a lot. And I also managed to kill a couple of deer and make a water skin. It takes 2 deer to make 1 water skin.
Sounds very wasteful to me.
Yeah, he's obviously not a very good guy. I mean, this guy's meant to be. I think the background he's meant to be a bit of a survivalist. He's like sort of a bit like Bear Grylls.
So what you're saying is he's a YouTube level survivalist.
Yeah.
He's the guy that's watched a couple of videos on YouTube and now all of a sudden he's a survival expert.
Yeah. Well, mate, he does go in the game. He instantly knows how to build like a log cabin. I think that's pretty good going.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Cutting trees sounds wonderful, because when you cut the trees down, it's not like you cut the tree, it doesn't time, it just falls over. Or you suddenly just, as you cut it, you get logs appear in your inventory and then it just disappears.
Yeah.
As you cut it, you actually start chopping bits out of the tree, and you'll see bits of the tree come around, and you have to actually almost sort of work your way around the tree to cut it all apart, because you actually see it all disappearing.
Yeah, sure.
That's really neat. That's really neat animations, and you cut a lot of trees down.
It's Unreal Engine, I take it.
I think yes, it is. I think you're right. I think it's Unreal, unless it's Unity. No, I think it's Unreal. I don't know. I have to look it up. But it's beautiful. It's a lovely looking game. So I was on the island initially, the main island initially, and I was not from natives, and then I did a little bit of research, and they said, "Oh, what you should do is the natives can't swim,
Oh, right.
and there's lots of little islands, sort of like just not that far from the main island." So I basically rowed over to them, built a houseboat, as you do,
As you do.
rowed over to the island, and basically set up a camp on an outside island. And that was great because there are loads of tourists around, which I've got some big bits of meat on there. I set up a drying rack to dry meat and so forth. And basically, I have a safe place now I can go to, and I've not gone mad with it. I'm just set up for creature comforts. And I basically have it as a base operations.
Yeah.
Because from what I understand, they will. Your natives will attack your base even if you're not. From what I understand, I think they will attack your base even if you're not there.
Well, yeah,
Potentially,
sure. That's the best way to.
Yeah, you can come back to Nafik to base camp. So basically, I spent sort of a couple of days sort of basically creating enough meat and so forth to get food resources so I can actually go properly exploring the island. Because obviously rain's a danger. If you get too wet, you'll get cold. You can build like portable shelters, but they don't actually protect you from the rain because they're only made out of leaves and twigs.
Oh yeah, sure.
So they don't protect you from the rain, but you can sleep in them. And also, shelters are your save points.
Okay.
So if you want something, you have to have a shelter to save and sleep at. Bit weird, you can't. They have like the shelters seem to have like a recharge for sleep. So when you go to sleep and you get off, there'll be like a little like cool down period before you can go back to sleep, which I found a bit weird because in real life I don't need to recharge to sleep, and that felt a bit gamey.
Yeah.
I was like, well, it's night time. There's nothing else I can do. I've just got to sit here now watching the fire for 10 minutes, just waiting for the shelter to recharge. I mean, I prefer if like you had like a fatigue level. That's all. You do have like fatigue, but you get back by.
So kind of like long dark, whereby you can't go to sleep if you're not tired. You can wait, but you can't go to sleep.
Yeah, but you have like fatigue, and you have got like a sort of standard bar, but you can regain it just by sitting down and eating food.
Right.
Oh, that's cool. That food because it's obviously got a window, which made it sound louder than it was. So that felt a bit weird. But I've started exploring the island. I started encountering natives. There's at first I thought it was just sort of like humanoid natives, but there are actually like sort of really freaky mutants. It's like this creature's got it's like two people been fused together. It's got like 4 limbs and like 4 legs and 4 arms. And he sort of runs around and flowers at you. And there's these caves you can go into and descend into. So one sort of objective is to find all the passages in the plane. There's a cave. There's caves you go into. You find all the passages in the caves, and they are terrifying because you only all saw light sources like a little lighter, which seems to have infinite fill, luckily. But that only lights like literally like probably 2 foot in front of you.
Yeah, sure.
So navigating the caves is treacherous, and I did actually get in one cave pretty much lost. And I only had a water skin, I only had a bit of meat, and so I was starting to get hungry, starting to get thirsty, and I was like, I'm going to run out of water very shortly. And you can drink water from pools, but it's probably going to make you ill. Or in this game, whereas Long Dark had a lot of status effects, so like you could get dysentery, you could get food poisoning, and so forth. This game just simply seems to knock things off your health bar.
Yeah.
It's in some ways a bit more arcadey actually, in some weird ways, but that doesn't seem to detract too much from it.
Sure.
And after a while, you'll find things on the. There's certain things you can't craft, so like maps and stuff you have to find.
Is this early access or full release?
Full release now.
Oh, okay.
Full release now. It was an it went for the early access process. It's now been fully released. I mean, they've completed it. I mean, it's probably actually of all the sort of games I've played, I'd say it's probably the most solid of them.
Oh, okay.
It feels the one that's been most. It feels like it's been done by a big professional studio.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't feel like a. I mean, it's still got some odd bits in it, but in generally, I mean, Ark always felt very buggy.
Yeah, still is.
It still runs quite shit.
Mm-hmm.
Long Dark was pretty solid, but had some weird bits to it, it did feel a bit shoddy in places.
Mm-hmm. Long Dark is okay. I just didn't. A lot of people have said, well, the only reason you're not finding it a challenge is because you're playing it on Pilgrims. Like, but I'm not playing it on Pilgrim. The Long Dark for me fell into the same trap of Ark.
Yeah.
Once I got enough supplies.
Your sources.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I tried several different play styles to see if I could make it harder. So like, should I carry a ton of stuff with me which makes me move slower, but I have enough supplies to last me if I get stranded anywhere? Or should I keep my pack light and make it so I can run everywhere but risk injuring myself because
Yeah.
I'm moving so quickly? Both got me to near enough the same place with no effort at all.
I mean, this game encourages. It has got crafts. You've got like two versions of crafting. You have crafting, and you have like building.
Mhm.
So you like let's take for example a small shelter.
Yeah.
How it works is you say I'm going to build a shelter, and you have like a diary which you go and you just pick a blueprint.
Mhm.
And when you click it, you then appear on in-game world like a green outline of it,
Yeah.
and you'll go place it. And it'll say to you, right, to build this, you need to collect X many logs, X many sticks, X many whatever to build it. So you have to go then grab those resources, and things like sticks you carry 10 at a time, logs you can only carry 2, and a lot of structures need a lot of logs. You'll be hauling a lot of logs in this game.
Mhm.
And then as you walk up to it, as you sort of like place them, they appear in the blueprint, sort of fill in the gaps.
Kind of like Dragon Quest Builders does the same kind of thing.
Mm.
You have to go gather materials and then place them where they're supposed to go on a blueprint.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to place them specifically, but you just go approach the blueprint and it'll say, like, press E to place them. They'll
sure.
just magically teleport to the right places.
Yeah.
It does feel a bit weird, like a log hut. You might build like the roof, but because you've not built the floor, it doesn't count for anything yet.
Okay.
And I would think it'd be nice to have like where it could be like partially built and you get some partial protection, but not full protection because it's not finished.
Yeah.
Or perhaps like make it really easy to destroy. Perhaps it's risk reward. You can use it, but it's risk reward. But that's neat because it means you can visually see it. Whereas like again in Ark, it's like as long as you've got enough resources, you can just build it there and then.
Yeah.
You can sort of feel like a progression.
Yeah.
And you'll like set your camp, and you can usually go around your camp and like, oh, I'm going to build this, and this. Plan it all out in your camp, and then you know then next time you play a game, remember what you're going to do. You can just go back and forth. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I'm going to set up there, and go back and forth, which works quite well. That's sort of thing. But you also then have crafting, which is basically combine things together. It's got some strange things. And so you build like quite quickly. You can build like clubs and stuff. It really encourages close combat weapons.
Okay.
You can build clubs and stuff quite easily. Where am I looking?
Tricord. Might be sat on it, Nick.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, there it is.
There you go.
So to build 5 arrows,
Mm-hmm.
right, you need 5 feathers, which are bloody hard to get. After again.
My dog's going for a walk.
Dog's going for walkies. Walkies.
If you can see a little tail whacking me in the side of the head.
Yeah.
Have you got everything you need, Inky?
Yeah. Got my phone with me just in case.
Okay.
Because just in case.
Just in case.
Just in case.
Last time we let you out of the house. Not
Right.
good.
I decided that I needed a lot of the services to help me
Yes.
to get home.
Please be careful.
Will do. Love you.
Love you too.
Bye. So
If
yeah,
the police
so,
turn up again, I'm not going to be happy. Anyway.
do you want to flip a coin for it next time? Yeah. So you so getting feathers is a nightmare. You have to like birds. If you scam, they'll sort of sometimes drop one, and you have to. But then it falls in the air. To sort of like try and grab it out of the air.
Oh, right.
And if you kill a bird, you may pick up a feather. But
Oh,
also
it's
you won't.
got the old Warcraft logic,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's like there's a bird there. I know I smashed it with a club, but
I'm pretty sure there's at least a handful of recoverable feathers.
if I can
on
get a
there.
piece of meat off it, and I smashed it with a club, I should be able to get a few feathers. So a 5 arrows and 1 stick makes 5 arrows. You can't do like 1 arrow and a feather with a stick to make an arrow. You have to have 5 feathers. So arrows are actually quite hard to make.
Mhm.
Things like the sort of catapult thing, you have to find stones. You can't make ammunition for them. You have to find ammunition for them, which are quite plentiful. But you can pick them up again. You can pick arrows up again, which is quite nice. So if you shoot
Yeah.
somebody and kill them, you can pick the arrows
Which
up
makes
again.
sense.
Yeah, it does. And you can also upgrade them as well. So you can set them on fire. You can make arrows out of bones as well.
Yeah.
All the high tier stuff is all made out of bones, which you get by burning corpses.
Well,
And
as you do.
as you do, and get burns out of them. So that's quite neat, but it does emphasise what it is. The only way to get to fight is close combat, and that's dangerous. I have found that afterward you can sort of get the idea of how to fit, and even when I'm like being attacked by, even when I was attacked like by 4 or 5 people, I was probably still had the upper hand because
Yeah.
I managed to craft a really powerful club, and it's also sort of like timing my attacks with theirs and sort of judging reading their body language. I was able to get blows in and basically kill them.
Yeah.
So it's only probably the tough monsters that really prove tough, but only because they've got lots of health.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall I found the close combat was quite. It's all right, but you do feel that. I think that they're really forcing you down that route. You have to do close combat. You can't really go the route of ranged weapons.
Yeah, sure, because you're having to craft everything yourself. It would take
Yeah.
fucking forever.
You can craft a
And
bow
you-
really
you-
quickly. But
Yeah, but the
it's
trouble
not
is though, with a
issue for-
bow, you have to be quite accurate with it to really put someone down.
Oh, and you do in this game as well. What's quite nice is they have, so from the plane when it crashed, there are certain items that obviously you can't manufacture. You can't make a compound bow or like a really modern axe because you just didn't have those resources. However, they were on the airplane, so they're dotted around the landscape, so you come across and you can find them.
Oh, sure.
So you can find rewards. And I picked up a chainsaw.
Oh, good.
Why there's a chainsaw on a plane and lots of cans of fuel, I don't know,
Wow.
but I've picked them up. The
You
map.
went to an Evil Dead convention.
Yes, the map itself is not like a lot of these sort of survival games. It's not randomly generated.
Okay.
It's fixed. A bit like On Dark is a fixed map.
I
I
quite like
that.
about
Yeah,
Dark.
I like it because it's if you can never get quite the same. Quality is the one word, but not quite the same. You get weird stuff when you have procedural generation. You get weird things happen. Whereas when it's been handcrafted,
Yeah.
in its partly procedural generated, then they've gone around and sort of totted it up, handcrafted. It can feel more like a proper place.
Yeah.
And there's no real randomisation of everything's in the same place every time. So apart from when you start, which is randomised, other than that, all the villages are in the same place, all the camel villages are in the same place, all the resources like the axe are all in the same place every time.
I would prefer the axe and some of the resources to be in different places.
Yeah, be randomly generated as well, randomly distributed. Like perhaps have okay, I know there's something going to be here, but it could be like a chainsaw, or it could be like.
Well, you could open a drawer and in one playthrough you find a knife, and then next time round you open it up and there's absolutely nothing in it.
Yeah.
I liked that about Long Dark, that
Each playthrough would be sort of different.
yes, and because the starting zones were always different too, unless there were many times I was like, oh crap, I don't know where I am, and then I walked in and I was like, I recognise this place, but last time I came from that way.
You're randomly placed in areas, but each area isn't actually that big.
No.
Each map isn't actually that big, which I think is actually part of Long Dark's problem, where they had to have all these separate maps. If it was like Forest is like one massive map, has got some loading screens in it, but they're hidden like by the transition where like you crawl through a cave, it loads.
Yeah, sure.
Which you're crawling through and so forth. Long Dark, Forest however is one big massive map. You can just wander around and get lost. So you will find yourself in places, but if you play it all the way through, when you then next start again, you are going to go, oh, I know where I am. I've played before. I know that big landmark. I know where I am. Oh, there'll be a chainsaw in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, more randomisation would be nice. But I haven't really got a lot to complain about. It's quite a well sort of game. I've been enjoying it.
Yeah, sure.
And I would say pick it up. I think even at full price, it's only about sort of £14, £15.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. I think it's not expensive. If not, pick it up. It's definitely a Steam sale game if you like survival games.
Sure.
It's probably one of the more enjoyable ones I like survival games. It's probably the more enjoyable ones I've played in a long time. I find survival games I'm playing for like 6-7 hours, really enjoying it, really intense, and then stop playing them.
Yeah, sure.
Happened in Ark, happened in All Dark, all sorts.
Yeah.
So that's the Forest.
Good. No, that sounds really cool.
Yeah, cool. Have you got anything else before we move on to the next section?
Let me think. No.
Cool.
I'm just surprised that East has lasted another full week.
Yeah, so we've been playing 4 hours a time.
Near enough 4 hours a time. Most of the time it's been 4 hours a time. As I say, I've put in gone over 50 hours at this point, and I'm at the last quest, but there's still stuff to do. Still throwing stuff at me to do.
Is it one of those games that's got like lots of hidden things you have to try and find and really awkward places, or is it like the quests are all there? They're not actually. Because I think, of course, one that's all Ubisoft's favourite thing to do. Let's collect 100 idols, but we're going to hide them all over the place. You got to find them, and you can't get 100% until you find them all. I just feel a bit longevity, unless you've got like in Far Cry, you could buy a map that just showed you where they were.
So in East, the things that you have to find are harvest points, which appear on your when you go into an area and you run near them, it will show you where they are.
Yeah.
Even the characters will say, "Hey, look over there. There's like some fruit you can get," or "Here's a good fishing spot." One of the characters will say, "Hey, look, there's some fish," and then you can go, and they'll be like, "Oh, hang on. So where's this fishing spot? Oh, it's there. Go and fish."
And then it's all like, "Bing, you've unlocked this fishing spot." And
well, no, you just go over to it. It's always there because you just go wherever you want, whenever you want.
Yeah. Well, it's all is it that's all then that ticks towards your completion rate.
Oh yeah. Sure. Well, if you fish at it and find all of the fish in that area, sure.
Oh, right, okay.
Well, because there's different things, so you have to find all the different kinds of foods. You have to be able to cook all the different kinds of recipes. You have kind of a little side quest where you have to feed a member of your party every type of fish on the island. There's
Is find the fish that's sort of like a completely random thing, or is there like
different fish in different areas.
Yeah, but if you go to the area, you know you're going to get that fish. It's not a case of there's 5 fish here.
No. You will. There will be different fish there. You won't just get guaranteed to get the best one every time.
Yeah.
So there might be 3 different types in a certain area.
I so don't like that sort of random generation in games where, particularly if it counts towards like getting an achievement, whatever, you have to just sit there and you basically just praying the random number god rolls in your phone.
Well, it's not that bad because like if you go to a fishing spot, there might be 3 chances to fish it.
Yeah.
And there might only be 2 or 3 fish in that 2 or 3 specific species of whatever in that area, so it doesn't take that long to get everything that you want to get. I mean, and the fishing mini game literally takes seconds to do it. Even if you're just running through the map, because as you run around the map, obviously kind of the fog of war kind of lifts. As long as you hit every little, I mean, you'll see them. They're clear as day on the screen, and they come up on a little mini map at the bottom corner, like it's a compass. As long as you hit them, you're going to get pretty high towards completion as soon as you get around the map even once. It's just literally a case of find the treasure chests because there were pirates on the island before you got there. So find those. They will literally just be like, they're in a cave. There's a treasure chest. Find it. Open it. There's an item in it. I assume they go towards map completion because I've done. I think every area in the map I've either got 100% or in the high 99 or whatever percent, but it still says that I'm only 93% to completion. But if that is chests, they ain't going to take that long. The map isn't huge. Once you unlock fast travel spots, which I generally don't like doing, you can zip around the map really quickly. There's tons of little bits to do, tons of little quests to do, tons of characters to interact with. I haven't felt any part of this game has been a grind.
Cool.
And I've put in, as I said, 50 plus hours into it.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the issues I did have with Far Cry 5, and I really like Far Cry 5 as a game, but had a overly detailed fishing minigame. And it was almost like, I would say it's actually a proper decent fishing simulator, but because they do like to go crazy sometimes, they do like, that's really OTT over the top, and you had to cast out your rod, and then you had to sort of reel it in a little bit. And when you had to sort of try and move it over where the fish were. And when they bought, you had to sort of maintain between reeling it in. But if they start putting too hard, you'd sort of let it out again. And
so you didn't snap.
Yeah, I mean, it literally could take several minutes to pull in a fish.
Yeah.
Particularly really tough, like the named fish.
Yeah.
They get into quite some time to get in, and. It did feel like you were basically rolling. You were playing against a RNG.
Yeah.
Are you going to win this fishing or not?
East isn't that bad. East is nowhere near that bad. It might say there are 30 different kinds of fish on the island, and you could probably get those in no time flat. The hardest part, I would say, is finding the different fishing spots. But literally, as you run through an area, say if you've got Sahad on your team, who is a fisherman, he'll go, "Hey, this looks like a perfect fishing spot." You're like, "Oh, cool. There it is." Flick out the rod, cast out where the lure lands, because you can actually kind of aim it in a general area. Where it lands, a little ring will come about. As long as that ring lands in the area where the fish is, you just wait a couple of seconds. Oh, it's bit. Press the button, tap A like a motherfucker, and occasionally it will come up with press left on the analog stick whilst tapping A, spin the left analog stick whilst tapping A, hold the L and R buttons. That's
Yeah.
it, and then it'll just the bar at the top will go, whoop, and then once it's full, you're done it.
Yeah.
And then you just go again if you
Yeah.
want to. I've practically finished feeding the bird. There's a bird in the village. You have to feed the bird all the different things. Well, because it
That
goes.
sounded like a euphemism for a second. I've just
It
finished
goes-
feeding the bird.
Yeah, it goes out and it finds items for you. So
But not food for itself.
because it's an asshole. Well, then there's another character in the game. It's like a little cat. You feed it things that you learn to cook. And so,
That's one of the most Japanese things ever.
that's it. Well, like I don't know, you're like, it's kind of hungry. You can hear its stomach growling, so you feed it like a fucking spaghetti bolognese that you cooked, or fish soup, or something like that. Just little things like that. And once you go
Meanwhile,
down,
all your starving villagers looking, the cat's getting for spaghetti bolognese again.
that's it. Well, no, because it'll only take the food once. It will only take.
Oh, it's picky.
So so let's say there's 15 different recipes you can learn in the game. Like, it's not going to starve to death if you don't feed
No.
it, but once you feed it, say, 5 of 15 items, it will give you a special item.
I like the fact that they've programmed in picky cat behaviour and they only eat the meal once and then won't turn his nose up at it again. I like that they programmed that into the game.
Well, yeah, but then otherwise, because let's say there's 20, 30 items, you can end up just feeding it the same thing over and over again because you forgot that you fed it. So
Yeah, I get the idea.
it's I thought it was really fun. It's got some resource management in it. You can go out into the wilds, harvest items through the little harvest points that you literally just hit and they drop items. You can then go back to the village and talk to the woman who runs the village market, but there's just a bartering system. So you're like, shit, I could really do with some of these random claws, but I haven't got any. But she's like, yeah, I'll give you one of these claws if you can give me like some of this, some of that, and some of that, and then you just trade them off to get what you need.
So aren't you rescuing these villagers and so forth, setting this base up yourself, from what I understand?
You're stuck on the island, and basically just everyone has their own kind of specific thing they do, a specialisation.
You're stuck on the island, there's one thing, you can say to her, look, I'm literally saving everybody, give me the fucking claw.
No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Because
Once a capitalist, always a capitalist.
Well, the idea being that, like, for example, there was a tailor on board. The tailor and wife will make you accessories, armour, or whatever out of things that you find to make you better at what you do, but they can't do their job to make you that stuff unless you do it. There's a blacksmith on the island who can't help you unless you find her the materials.
That's fair enough.
The merchant is literally there trying to stop one of the rich toffee-nosed bastards from stealing all the food. Because he believes that because he is a nobleman, he has the right to absolutely sodding everything. So there's the bartering system. He's like, no, I want the wine that washed up on shore with us. I want it. I'm the nobleman. I should have it. And at times he is known to steal food.
Can you incarcerate him? No, that's annoying. Can you put him like one of those little like
Well,
pillions?
thankfully you don't have to keep an eye on the asshole for long, because he gets sick and tired of you lot not letting him do what he wants to do, and decides to fuck off.
Do you then find him dead later on?
Oh,
Or is it, well, it's either it's going to go on to either you'll find him dead later on, he'll have died a lonely person, Greenwood did, or he'll join the other evil faction. Who I'm sure there's an evil faction on this island somewhere. No. Oh, that's cool. Well, it's just you v the environment.
So there is basically, you are trying to, 1, get off the island, and 2, try and solve the mystery of the island. Why are creatures long thought extinct here? And why is it that the main character is having strange visions of the past? Basically, and it turns out that a person from the past is actually also having strange visions of the future. So you get to find out what happened to the island to start with, because you start finding ruins and things.
Yeah.
One character, the main character, is travelling through the ruins, whilst the character from the past can assist you through having you'll go to sleep. The main character, Adol, will have a dream of the past. The character from the past can then do something to assist Adol in the future. So I don't know. Let's say a bridge is broken or a waterway is blocked or whatever. She can fix that or unearth items that wouldn't be there in. For example, there's a rare fruit in the game, and in the past there is a wounded animal, and she feeds this animal one of the rare fruit. In the future, where she feeds that animal the rare fruit becomes a big old tree loaded with this fruit, fruit that wasn't readily available beforehand in the future.
Yeah.
Just little bits like that.
Oh, cool. So it's a bit of time travel sort of.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
That's cool. Which is, it's kind of, and then you can find out what happened on the island. You uncover like ancient religions. The origin of species kind of thing, so evolution kicks in there, there's a bit of time travel in there, religious wars are in there. It's a neat little, it's nothing crazy new. They've got the old amnesia trope in there, but it's a fun game too. And then the fact that you have to help defend the village from little raids that happen by the primordials, the dinosaurs and things that are on the island. They're nothing hardcore either, just you've got some defences, some like battlements. You've got like you've built barricades, lures so that the animals go to eat the meat that you've poisoned on the whatevers. And then the idea is that you kill them in waves, kind of like a little mini horde mode. It's just a mini game basically.
Yeah.
Defend the village. You get rewarded items for it, and then fuck off back and do the main quest.
Yeah.
You can do them if you want, or you don't have to. But it's just loads and loads of neat little things, and I just think it's nice to see where East the series has gone compared to a lot of other games. It's a fun little one. You don't have to go 100% through the map. You don't have to find all the items. You don't have to do all the mini games or all the quests. But it's just there's no reason not to.
Yeah.
And it's one of the first games in a long time where I actually remember some of the characters. I remember characters' names. I played Xenoblade Chronicles 2 for about somewhere between 6 and 9 hours, and I only remember 2 characters' names. And I'm pretty sure they introduced me to at least 7 or 8, and I only remember 2. In all that time, I remember 2. In East, I remember most of them. Most of them. The entire village, not just the main characters that you play as, but the village. So it's pretty good.
Cool.
Anyway, yeah.
So, moving on to other news.
Yeah.
Now, it's that time of year again.
Oh no.
You're alright this year, I don't know what you're worried about.
I held back hardcore this year.
You definitely did. So, time of year again, we are, well, I say just. We were just, if we would record this when we went to record, but not anymore. Anyway, basically about 2 weeks ago, Steam Summer Sale came to a conclusion.
Yes, which usually really hurts my wallet, but my wallet is empty.
Yeah, your Steam wallet.
Yeah.
So
Lord Gaben didn't bless me this year.
Lord Gaben is disappointed in you.
Yes, he is. I am sorry, Gaben.
Did this the one day when you're walking out, the sort of clouds part, and this light come down, and it went, Skaz,
I was like,
why are you not giving me the offerings you normally do?
Like, I'm sorry, Gabe, but for fuck's sake, mate, you ain't exactly paying me, are you, son?
I demand tribute.
So wait till the winter sale.
You better make up for it. The light disappears in the clouds, goes
So
a small sound of thunder.
Yeah, so when I get paid, Gabe, I'll give you my money.
I just think the winter sale coming along now, and you're going to be there, and you have all stuff in the inventory, and you're about to click buy, you go, perhaps I won't, and you just hear this crash of thunder. I'm buying.
I'm buying a game. I'm buying it. Well, the thing is, though, I looked, and I have a few games on Steam. And there's quite a few that I just looked at it and I was like, I should probably play most of these, at least give them a fucking go.
Yeah.
But the trouble is, because I'm playing stuff like I am streaming more, I'm playing more. I'm actually playing my games through to completion, which is nice. So I will go through a lot of my Steam library soon. Just not at this point. Although I did buy, well, as you'll see on the list, I bought quite a few fighting games.
Yeah, shall we go through your list?
Oh, here we go.
Okay.
Note that this is nowhere near as bad as what it normally is.
No, it's actually surprising.
Like that, was it last year when you said that I bought the entire IDOS collection? And I'd completely forgot.
114 games you bought last year, I think.
Oh, Jesus.
Anyway,
Only a few then.
it was only a few. You've done really well this time. So, you bought this year Guilty Gear Xrd Revelator,
Fighting game.
King of Fighters 14 Steam Edition,
Fighting game.
Street Fighter 5 Arcade Edition Original,
my PS4
soundtrack, Street Fighter 5 Season 2 Character Pass, Street Fighter 5 Original soundtrack,
Can I throw out there I hate Street Fighter?
Street Fighter 5 Season 1 Character Pass.
Yeah.
Okay. You then brought Ys 6, The Ark of Nepotism. I knew where that as nepotism.
Yeah. The Ark of Nepotism.
Yeah, the game's about giving your brothers and sisters
there you go.
jobs. Ys 7.
I had all the other ones in the series,
Yeah.
so I thought I'd grab those two.
I do that sort of thing. Like, I don't really want to play a game, but I've got all the others in the series.
I think I had one of them on Vita or PSP, and I was like, fuck man, I've got all the other ones on my Steam library.
Does it look neat?
Well, I promised people that I would play other Ys games on stream, and I was like, I don't really think I can be asked to go and connect up like one of these other systems. So fuck it, I'll get them on Steam. And I mean, they were like £1 each or something like that, so you couldn't really complain at that point.
Melty Blood Actress Again Current Code,
Fine game.
which is just like orders. It's just random words.
Yeah, well, that
sentences
is really pretty fucked up.
Under Night in Birth EXE Late.
Fine game.
Is it EXE? Because that's how I read it. Blaze Blue Calamity Trigger. Blaze Blue Continuing Shift
I own
Extended.
all those. I own
Blaze
some of
Blue
those
Chroma Phantasma Extended. Blaze Blue Central Fiction.
on. Yeah.
Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle. And believe it or not, that's it.
Yeah.
That is Skaz's total purchase.
So those were all fighting games.
You bought the grand total of 15 games.
Yeah.
A tenth, near enough, of what you've bought in previous years.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on to me.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, in my first batch of games I brought, Call of Duraz, the Western style game.
Okay.
Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon. Alpha
Ghost
Force,
Recon.
the original.
Oh, right, yes.
Yeah.
I'm just going to talk about that during the...
Yeah, not the new shitty ones.
Yeah.
Alpha Protocol, which is like an espionage game.
I think I have that.
The classic version of Alien vs Predator from 2000.
I remember that one.
Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Desert Siege and Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Island Thunder.
Yeah, I have
Yep.
those.
The Swapper, which
Right.
is like a 2D game. GTA 5.
Oh, I have that. I just don't know on Steam. That's awful.
Yeah.
Just throwing that is awful. We played the online.
So I'm
and
playing the offline, I'll be playing.
I hated the offline as well. The characters made me want to fucking vomit. Some of the characters have special abilities whilst they're driving. I was like,
Nice.
no, off.
Quake 4. Grim Fan.
Quake 4.
That's the one where you become strong.
Oh yeah, I played through that.
Grim Fandango Remastered. Classic of it.
May have the
LucasArts.
No, it's Double Fine, isn't it?
No, LucasArts Grim Fandango.
Was it?
It's one of their classic Strange games, isn't it? Grim
I can't
Fandango.
remember if it was
Like
Double Fine.
Escape from Monkey Island, same people.
And down the technical stuff.
Yeah. The Marvelous Mistake, which is like a stealth / puzzle game.
Okay.
I played a bit of it. It's interesting. It's but it's not. It's encouraged you to be run through it quite quickly because you're against you're against the clock. Not in the sense that if you take too long you'll fail, but it encourages you to like, can you do this mission in a minute 30 seconds to get my goal thing. And also the guards that move randomly. You can't analyse patrols,
Okay.
which is interesting.
That's neat.
Lifeless Planet Premier Edition. I don't know why I bought that. I don't even know what it is. Oh, dog's back.
Hello, Pond.
Some little game called The Forest.
Yeah, I've never heard of it myself.
Yeah. Euro Truck Simulator 2 High-Powered Cargo Pack.
As you do.
So it's Euro Truck Simulator, but you get the transport big generators.
Oh, marvellous.
Red Key VR. I bought some VR games. Plain State Tournament Enhanced Edition.
Oh, yeah.
Late Shift. I picked this up because this looked unusual. This looks interesting. It's sort of like a game harking back to the days of...
It's one of the FMV style
Yeah, yes it is. So I thought that was a bit interesting. It's probably quite shit.
I
but
believe
quite
it's on Switch as well.
Yeah.
Although the fucking... Is that the one with the bloke in the suit as the front picture?
Yeah.
But it's really badly done where they
Yeah.
haven't put the transparency layer on the front image.
That's it.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Guys, transparency, please.
It
You've
looks-
cropped out the two side images.
It looks a bit naff, but I think it might be fun. That might be one for us to do on our live stream.
I'd play that. I've played a few of those before. I've played that style of game before.
Yeah. Assassin's Creed Origins,
Right.
The Fog,
Right.
Kingdoms and Castles.
I like that one.
Yeah, I've played. I've really quite enjoyed. Although I think that stage in all these sort of strategy games where like you're at the stage where you need more money. There's nothing else you can do in the meantime, so you just got to sit there and wait.
Actually, I don't have that problem too much.
Yeah, I've spent too much, obviously. Space Program Episode 1's Alpha Centauri, which is another sort of action, sort of like Telltale style game. Not from Telltale, but that style game. I just want to put the first one up. Euro Truck Simulator 2 Cabin Accessories. And Euro Truck Simulator 2 Wheel Tuning Pack. I'm going to start live streaming Euro Trucks.
Yeah, cool. An old friend of mine, Jay, Mr. J UK on Twitch. It's actually funny. I found Jay on Twitch a while ago, and I bumped into him in town. He streams Euro Truck, and he's part of a radio station called Truckers.fm, where they do music for people who play
Cool.
Euro Truck. They really enjoy it. Jay actually, he's sometimes sat there like he's having a few beers on stream and he's fucking piling his truck through mountain roads and that.
I've had about I've drunk driven in Euro Truck Simulator.
Seriously,
I've also driven sleeping and crashed.
if you get a chance to watch Jay streams, he does music streams during the day, but he often does Euro Truck in the evening. But it's really fun to watch him play stuff like that, and I kind of enjoy watching people play Euro Truck. It's odd. Euro Truck is a game that is surprisingly fun, given its
driving round.
Yeah.
Then I got a game called Duskers, which is like it's a 2D game where you're like exploring spaceships with like sort of probes and stuff. Yes, I've played. We discussed it.
Yeah,
Quite bad.
I haven't played
that we discussed an episode about 10 episodes ago, but it was a Bard episode.
Yeah, I'm still trying to find the episode that Bard said he mentioned Garo Mark of the Wolves in, because I completely. The trouble is, right, I tend to completely ignore what people say their games are.
Yeah, I do.
I can remember when my mate Shade was talking to me on a live stream once. He mentioned Ikaruga, a bullet hell shooter, and he mentioned the name and the type of game. And I acted like I'd never played a bullet hell game before, even though I played Ikaruga a lot on the Dreamcast. I have a copy of it on Dreamcast. I've had it on Dreamcast for fucking years, and I was like, oh no, mate, never heard of it. No. And it's like, it's right fucking there, Scaz. It's on your memory card. You played it a lot. Same with like stuff like when Bard talks about it, and I'm like, almost as if I've just ignored like that tone.
To be fair, when there's groups of people, I tend to phase out.
Yeah.
And I wait for the quiet moment and go, oh, shall we move on?
Yes.
And I listen back through and I do the edit thinking, did we discuss that? I don't remember that.
Yeah,
as I'm putting the show notes together, did we discuss that? You have to look for the show notes.
No, I tried that. I tried it and I couldn't find it.
Oh.
I actually went through the the podcast show. I went through the website, started looking through the website, trying to find it.
Oh dear, my really badly written summary.
Yeah, I was like, well, actually, I quite liked him, but I couldn't find the thing that Bard was talking about. So he claims he spoke of it, and he probably did. I just ignored it.
The trouble is, you tend, but when I don't list. Often I find that when we discuss games, we can someone bounce around like say 10 minutes about 6 different games. I don't list all of them. I tend to pick the main ones.
Yeah.
So maybe he briefly mentioned for like 2 minutes, and I wouldn't put it down because it just takes too much time to find the links.
I mean, I'll admit it's only recently I've got back into fighting games, so it's because it was a fighting game he was talking about. I pretty much just let it go that he mentioned it. So if I seemed really foreign to this series, what was it like a couple of months ago? I was like, what fighting games have I? That might have even been a couple of weeks ago. When I looked down a list of fighting games, I was like, oh, I remember that. Oh, I remember that. Oh God, I completely forgot about that one. And it turns out I'd actually played near enough every major fighting game released in the last like fucking 30 odd years. Right. But it was a genre that I just let completely go from my mind.
Do you ever really like look at a game and you think, oh, I've never seen that game before, and you look at it and goes, it's in your library. And you go to your library, and then you look at it and go, I've played 36 hours of it.
Yeah, you have a bit of a Gandalf moment. I have no memory of this place.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
Yeah.
When did I have that? Well, I've done that with games, the games that I own. Like, we've actually got like 2 or 3 copies of some games on different platforms because I've just completely forgotten that I own them.
Oh dear.
But,
Getting
you know.
old, Skaz.
Well, that's it.
Skaz.
It's on Steam. Yeah, that's the one that's on RimWorld's on Linux, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I still haven't played it yet. I
Yeah,
will do eventually.
if you, you'd like it. It's like Prison Architect, which I don't think you played either. No, so
I'll work
Duska's,
through my Steam library at some point.
Duska's 2D, yeah, it's like a 2D game where you're all controlling drones. They explore spaceships and like this universe where all life is dead, apart from like you and your drones.
Yeah.
And you're sort of trying to find out what's going on. Game called Dex. I can't remember what that's about. Fallout 4 Game of the Year Edition. Now the reason I bought the Game of the Year Edition
Right.
is because I only wanted 2 expansions. However, it was dearer to buy the 2 expansions
Than it was
separately
to buy
by
them.
the Game of the Year Edition. So I just bought the Game of the Year Edition.
Yeah, that's often what happens.
Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Yeah, I watched Jet play some of that. That's not one that I didn't pick that up. How much was it on sale for?
That was still quite expensive. I think it was about 25 quid.
Yeah,
But that did come with the soundtrack and the art book.
no. Yeah.
So
I mean, it's neat. I just don't think my machine could play it that well.
yeah,
Jet had frame rate issues and his machine absolutely destroys mine.
yeah, I'll have a go at it. Well, I want to play the beta version. It had some weird graphical anomalies in the beta version. It had like texture loading problems.
Alright.
So like I started the level and it clearly was loading low res textures and then it loaded high res. So you start the game and he walks over this like sort of hill. It looks like this big castle. And it's just like sort of this weird sort of clay, sort of mud brown. And as he walks towards it, suddenly pings into like the
pops
text.
out.
Yeah. I then bought Stalker Shadow Chernobyl because I don't actually have that on Steam.
I don't know if I have that one. I'm pretty sure I have Pripyat, but
Yeah.
if not, then I might have a physical at the moment.
I've got this. I've got the collector's edition of that.
Ooh.
Cube Director's Cut. That's a puzzle game. Braid, which is like 2D shoot.
Yeah, I think I have that one. It's an old indie classic.
Yeah.
Indie classic.
Unforgiven Northern Hymn. I have no idea what that's about. I don't know if it's about I don't know if that's like up north where you're like sort of in a brass band or something. I don't know. So I actually bought 33 games. I bought more than twice as many as you.
You see, you say that, but you're only looking at my Steam library.
I know, but that's the Steam sale we're talking about.
I was just going to throw out there, the main reason why my Steam library is so thin is because I probably spent nearly £200 on Nintendo Switch games.
Well, we're
So-
discussing the Steam summer sales. That's what
That's
that is. So
Because I bought a lot of fighting games on the Switch as well. Like the Blaze Blue series, I was like, because I tried to get back into fighting games years ago. I was actually talking to a commentator from Evo the other week, and I said, I haven't played fighting games properly since a game called Capcom vs SNK 2, which came out in like 2001. Okay, so I've taken a huge gap.
Yeah.
Like Street Fighter 4, where everyone kind of got back into fighting games, wasn't even a thing. And I got sent, I believe, Blaze Blue, the first one on PlayStation 3, back when I started the daily vlog, and I was hoping I might get back into it, but I still hadn't got that flair back for fighting games yet.
Yeah.
So I just left it. I didn't touch it, and it's taken another like 10 years. Let's put it this way, it's been so long since I'd actually played the fighting game genre that when Inky saw me playing some fighting games that I played when I was younger, she's like, "What are you doing playing fighting games?" I said, "I played fighting games years ago." If you go upstairs, there's a lot of Dreamcast fighting games and stuff like that up there. But I tend to do that sometimes. I just drop genres completely from memory. And
Have you tried on Steam with fighting games? Have you tried using a Steam controller with them?
no, I have not. My Steam controller actually got put away. Yeah, well, I've not got my Steam box set up because I had to pack everything away because we didn't have any space. When Inky's art room was pulled apart, my entire gaming and streaming setup was ripped to bits, so I ended up working off of a laptop, and the laptop was not going to play games, so I ended up going laptop and Nintendo Switch, which is why most of the games that I'm playing through at the moment are Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
My Steam machine is upstairs in the loft. I just, until I get some space and I can justify having it all set up again, it's not going to be a thing. Fighting games though, I did go out and buy a £130 arcade stick, so
Yeah.
I will be I'll probably be playing that with those. But most fighting games these days are designed with a control pad in mind, so I couldn't imagine it being too much of a problem to play with
No.
a Steam pad, considering it's either D-pad or analog stick, and I tend to play fighting games with analog stick, not
Yeah.
D-pad, and that would be perfectly fine on the Steam pad. Fighting games generally require 6 buttons, 4 face buttons in the shoulder pad, or the shoulder button and shoulder trigger. So you've got those. I imagine they would work perfectly fine
Cool.
with a Steam pad. But no, I'm trying to learn to play stick because I'm worse with arcade stick than I am with a control pad. For reasons. I figured if I'm actually gonna get into fighting games and play them, I'm gonna play at my worst and then get better.
Yeah.
But
Which stick did you get?
Mad Catz Tournament Edition 2+.
Cool.
And I will probably be customising it at some point. So I'll probably change out the buttons, change out the stick, and at some point I may get a It's a Brooks Universal Fighting Board, which I will probably end up. Eventually, I plan on using the Brooks Universal Fighting Board, which is a controller board for arcade controllers. I plan on using one of those to build into my MAME arcade cabinets. So I'm just going to use the Mad Catz TE2 because you can take off the perspex from the top.
Yeah.
I'm just going to literally just use that as I'm going to use that perspex as a template for the arcades outside.
Yeah.
So I can just draw through and then cut through and then get the same kind of buttons and sticks and all that kind of stuff from my Mad Catz and then just slot them into an arcade machine. I'll just copy the layout outright. So I'm using the Mad Catz as kind of a tester to build arcade cabinets at the moment.
Oh, awesome.
So I can test different arcade sticks and buttons and see how they go before I buy them in bulk for an arcade machine.
Awesome.
So that's the plan,
Cool.
anyway.
Sounds like a good plan.
Yeah. Well, because it's fully customisable, and the bonus to the Mad Catz is literally rather than most other arcade sticks where you have to get a screwdriver to take it to bits, you literally press a button on the front, and then the top panel just lifts up and it's on a hinge, so you can then access all of the wires and all of the buttons that just clip out. So you don't have to screw or cut or solder or anything. You can just literally just pop it off and go. So for testing things, it's really quite nice, and it's built pretty well because my dog spilt tuna and rice over it the other day, and it still works fine. So
Good old dog
That's
spinning
it.
things.
It's absolutely brilliant. But I like the stick. Just it's very painful to use for me. But that's a condition. So I just wanted to learn to play on arcade stick because I want to build an arcade machine.
Yeah.
For the Kiddly Dinks.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Fun.
Well, I finished in Steam sales, so moving on to TV.
Oh, have you been
I've
watching?
been watching a couple of TV series. So a
This is
couple-
another part of the podcast that I tend to blank out. So I might say I've never seen that, but I've probably watched all of it 6 times over or something.
Possibly, I doubt it.
Yeah.
I've watched a couple of TV series. The first one is a series called Travellers. It's a sci-fi series. Produced by Brad White, who is, if you don't know, he's one of the main guys who produced Stargate Atlantis,
Right.
which I was really big into Stargate. I've got more on DVD. I love the Star. It's one of my favourite sci-fi series.
played the game?
Stargate. The original game, yeah. They were making a Stargate Issue 1 game, but then Sony bought out the company who was making it. I think they bought out MGM. And anything to do with Stargate franchise got canned. There's a Stargate Issue 1 RPG, which was really good. It's based on D20 system. So if you play like Dungeons and Dragons, it's basically the same system. That had an interesting mechanic actually. Just briefly onto RPG. So most games you have hit points. In this game, the hit points didn't actually represent your health. They represented like your luck in a weird way. So every time, you know how you see in films, people always like diving away the bullets and so forth. That was represented by your hit points going down.
Okay.
So when you rolled your damage, you weren't rolling damage per se. What you were rolling was like how lucky you were.
Yeah.
So like perhaps it was a really near shot, but you still escaped it. You might get the odds scale, but when your hit points reach 0, then any damage that came off your Constitution score.
Ah, right. Okay.
And then when that hits 0, so that's like, because obviously it wouldn't take a lot to knock your Constitution down to 0 in most cases. So that was actually when you were actually being killed.
Yeah.
I thought it was a neat idea actually.
No,
I thought
that's a neat
so.
So got wrecked. Good job, Sony.
Yeah,
Different.
they got as far as releasing. They made 5 source books. So the original RPG. I need to get that still up in the loft. And there's a source book for each TV season. They're like a source book, and so in every episode, for every episode of the season, they gave you all stats for all the characters in that episode, including like plot hooks. So you could like hook into those episodes, like go off and follow, which is a really neat idea. But I think they got as far as season 3 and they got canned. They canned a whole lot and stopped it. So really disappointing. I've still got a lot. I need to go print them down actually. But yeah, it's a neat RPG, but it's just such a shame. Good old Sony actually.
Sony can go to hell at this point.
Yeah, they skewered it. Well, Sony, the TV division anyway.
Well, Sony full stop at this point. I think they're the absolute crock of shite.
All their media stuff has always been a bit evil. Like, when they installed that backdoor spyware on machines.
Galaxy chocolate with the cheesy biscuits. Try it.
Interesting idea.
Oh, he knows where I got the idea from. There you go.
Oh, thanks. Galaxy chocolate on pizza, by the way.
Right.
Delicious.
I've got put chocolate in pancakes. That's quite nice. Yeah. So yeah, they at one point, Sony actually
Well, Paul Pod, don't
made basically done their CDs.
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah, and they basically, if you put the CD in your computer, it installed software to lock out copying software.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, downright evil thing to do, installing effectively spyware slash a semi-benign virus in your machine. Downright evil thing to do.
Well, then that's Sony through and through. I mean, like now, you'll never get, for example, and like I said earlier, I don't like the game Street Fighter 5. You will never see that game come out on Xbox or Nintendo Switch. That's PC and PS4 because Sony helped fund it. Rumour has it. You'll never see it anywhere else.
No.
Which is fucking annoying because Sony are horse shit.
Yeah.
Crossplay. Even though it should be simple to get servers to sync together, and let's be fair, it is.
Well, it's been done many times in the past.
Sony refused to let it happen.
Yeah.
Fuck them. Fuck Sony. Oh, and televisions. Sony, when your TVs die, normally you tend to stock spare parts. Most companies do, so that if you need a replacement part, it can either be purchased or you can call one of your repair service team who will come out and repair your device. Well, yeah, if you'd have bought your telly from anyone fucking else, not Sony, Sony just say, no, we'll just take the telly back. And they won't repair it, they'll just give you another one. And then it'll go in a pile. And maybe be salvaged for parts later. Maybe. Possibly. Not likely.
You should get a replacement telly.
Fucking fuck Sony. Fuck Sony. I just think it's wasteful.
Yeah, it is wasteful.
I just don't like that practice, that's all. I know someone will say, well, we cut a new fucking telly out of it.
It could be worse. It could say tough. You ain't gonna
Yeah,
get the
well,
TV
yeah,
updates.
they could do, but then Sony can fuck off.
Yeah.
So, oh, there you go. That's my mind rage there.
Anyway, back to Travellers. So, Travellers sci-fi series. So made by Brad Wright. So, if you've watched Stargate, you'll see lots of people who were in Stargate appearing, as you often do when you see same people producing different TV series.
Yeah.
There's lots of crossover, and yeah, you'll see lots of the. You know, Amanda Tapping in it, who's like one of the main cast of Stargate SG-1. She's in it. Chap played Colonel Mayborn's in it. You'll see lots of people. If you watch Stargate, you'll see loads of them in Travellers. So, yeah, it's a good series. So the basic premise behind. Oh yeah, I do like the film as well. The basic premise of Travellers is. Oh, there's more.
Fine, Ada. Yeah,
So-
I'm trying to be.
A host. Right.
Okay.
Just reminding you, I'm still alive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good job. At least I didn't get a visit this time. Thank you.
So Travis, basically, the premise is that in the future, some calamity has happened, and it devastated like the world, and basically the world become a dystopian future, basically, where there's like competing groups of people fighting each other. There's, resource scarcity and so forth. Well, this one group has this idea they discover a way to go back in time
Right.
to fix it. However, they can't send bodies back. What they can do is send back human consciousness.
Yep.
So what they do is they find people who are about to die. So in the starting episode, this guy, he's in a fight match, and how history says it, he's in a cage match, he gets brought down, he goes up, he goes again, doesn't concede the fight, gets killed.
Yeah.
So a few seconds before he's about to die, they beam this guy into him, and that guy takes over and says, I can see the fight, and basically changes. So their rule is we don't beam people in unless they're about to die.
Okay.
So it's like they think to themselves that's going to be less disruptive to the timeline because, it's slightly morbid. It's a morbid concept, but it's the only way you can get back in time.
No, that's dangerous. That's too dangerous. As
Yeah.
far as time travel rules go, that's.
We see the way they get around is that obviously the computer in the food. There's basically this thing called the director.
And it's basically figured out the least harmful changes.
Yeah, and it can. So monitoring changes that happen. It's able to then counter them and move things. So if things go askew in the part, it knows if I do this, this will happen. So
They're the
it's
history monks of Terry Pratchett.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So basically, it starts with this group of 4 people who get transported into these various people as they're about to die. And it's quite interesting how they say it, because it sort of plays into a bit of the more modern sort of social media world. So basically, they need to know something about these people, how they die. So they can't go back to sort of 1940s because they don't know enough information about people because there's no sort of constant recording of them. But in the modern day where people are on social media all the time and constantly recording lives, they can get an idea of these people. Because also the idea is they go back almost sleep, so that sort of under stealth, so people don't realise who they are. Mm-hmm. So they can go, right, okay, well, we'll look at this person. This person died on this date. We've got their social media records with all the records of the time. We've got all the sort of various, all the digital records, everything we've got in our database. So we can look back and we see, we know we can look at their family was, what the relationship was like. They can build a picture persona, and they can brief someone, say, this is what you're going to be, who you're going to be. Here's what they're like. Here's the name of your father. Here's the name of your mother. It looks like you've gone well, and so forth. But the interesting thing is they play on the fact that people don't always tell the truth in their social media. Yeah. So people get there and they realise that what they've read isn't actually what happened. So there's a few disasters one person, she gets put in this person who she basically thought was a librarian at a library and had sort of an education and so forth. It turns out she's actually been transferred to this mentally disabled, handicapped person, and as part of sort of trying to train to reintegrate into the world, they made up a fake Facebook profile.
Oh right.
So accidentally they use that as a point of reference, which completely obviously nearly blows her cover because people go, how do you suddenly know all this information? How have you gone from this person you couldn't read to this high class person who understands sort of medicine and so forth?
Yeah, sure.
Another guy who, and a little bit later on one of the early episodes, they go to meet because when I say 3 people, this is one team of 4 people. There's thousands gone back, thousands, which I like quite idea because you would send lots back. You wouldn't send you wouldn't send a group of 5 people to work to save the entire world. You would send groups, and each group would be doing a different thing, working towards the whole. So it's not one group doing everything. It's this group's here, they've captured these parts that you need to do this. This group's here is working in this research division. This group's here is part of the police force to try and help cover up all the things we're doing. It's been thought out how these groups interact. Yeah. But yeah, one guy, they go to meet a traveller. So often they'll get sent to meet another traveller. And they go to meet him, and then the record says he shoots himself. So they go there, they find him, he transports back, stops himself shooting himself. Unfortunately, his host decided, in case he couldn't go for shooting, he decided to poison himself and overdose at the same time.
Oops.
And so, but that didn't get recorded in history that the guy overdosed, so he ends up dying anyway.
Oops.
Which throws him in work. They can also send messages back to people, but if they send a message back to a person, it basically diddles their brain. Whom adults can't handle. Children are fine though. So occasionally
they tend to be more
malleable.
Yeah.
So they can use them as messages. So occasionally they'll get a knock at the door and they'll open up, there's a child here, and they'll go traveller 3468, you are to go to such place, and then the child will wipe its hand and go, how did I get here? I don't know where I am.
Yeah, sure.
It's quite cool. So I like that they've sort of worked out. And what I also like about it is that it's too much in the series where everything's constantly going against anybody. People never ever succeed. It's always like they only see the last bit. Every time they try and do something, there's a hurdle comes up and fixes it.
Yeah.
This series, it works a bit more lines of, you don't know what, things will just go right for them. They will.
Turn that thing off.
Goodbye, Siri. Okay. Yeah, so they sort of like, early on, they sort
They're
of.
listening.
Yeah. That's a traveller. So yeah, early on, they sort of have to like capture something. They just do it. Because they know how she's going to play out. They know all the routes and so forth, so they can just do it.
Yeah.
Actually, fall out from it. It's a couple of seasons at arms at the moment. Has got a lot of, as I was talking about this with Middlemeister, he says it has got a bit of, and I agree with him, it's a bit, some parts are a bit too soap opera-y, in that it gets a bit too involved in their lives. That's all the idea that, okay, you're back this time, you've got to pretend to be these people, not to arouse suspicion. And so it does get a little bit soap opera, and obviously you can't fool to be somebody. Your personality is going to be different to what they remember.
Mm-hmm.
So how do they feel these people? They've got to go, you seem really different to what you used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And it's little things like one guy goes back and in the future he's a vegan, but he goes back in time and obviously his person he tasted wasn't, and so when he drinks some tea with milk in it, he goes, "Oh, what's this? It's disgusting," and his wife doesn't understand why.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean? It's got cows.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just little things like that catch people out, and he's got to sort of try and hide it and so forth. So it's really they've thought about the problems that can occur, and I like the fact they've sort of like sort of ripped out a lot of sort of common tropes and sort of put them on the head like, oh, you're just one group of people. No, you're not. There's thousands of you.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, they'll message you. You'll meet big group meetings of everybody. Will get together and like different teams will meet up with each other and work together and so forth. Good, great, brilliant plan. Later on, the first season, they introduced this other group. So basically, they changed the future, and this other group, which would have been wiped out in the original timeline, gets formed, and they are against they believe what the director's doing is necessarily the right path.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're actually finding it, and they
I've
find.
heard about this before, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure someone's had a similar concept before. So then they sort of try and send people back. They learn a way to send people back as well, to try and counter it. What's neat is they can because obviously one thing the director they'll try and do is it's easier to take somebody over than it is to kill them.
Right.
Rather than having to try and sort of shoot people to defend against. But if you take them over, then instantly they're on your side.
Mm.
So one thing they'll do is if they're fighting against like groups of their people, they'll try and get them on to appear in front of CCTV cameras. Because as they appear in front of a CCTV camera, the computer knows where they are, what time they're there, and it can then because they have to to be able to transport something like that, they need to know their location, their elevation, the time, and it's all longitude latitude basically. It's all like all those details to do it. So if you can get someone you want who's a bad guy who is against you on camera, the computer has that information and can just transport someone immediately in.
Yeah.
Because in the future it knows it, so you just transport someone back to the past. So
Yeah, sure.
there'll be cases where like they'll all of a sudden they'll like get someone filmed and then instantly they'll like take a photo of somebody and that's it instantly they took over because they
Yeah.
didn't have that information and so forth.
Yeah.
Kill them. So it's quite nice. It is. They explore a lot of the ideas around the idea. As it has a little bit, it can be a little bit drama, but it does ramp up quite severely later on. So
There's only 2 time travel, whatevers. Technically 3. Third one's too old for most people to even care about. 1, Back to the Future.
yeah.
2, Steins Gate. The rest of it's trash.
Ooh, brave words.
Mm.
Brave words.
Fact.
Nah. Sorry, Dr. Beats all. Good.
That's trash.
How dare you?
It's fucking constantly on Twitch now.
That's not its fault. How dare you?
Old school series. Good times. New stuff. Trash.
How dare you?
Trash.
How dare I'll forgive you this time.
Trash.
So that's one sci-fi series I'm watching. The other series I want to watch, expanding on my watching random sci-fi series in different languages. That I've been doing a
Have we
lot.
gone from Spanish yet?
Oh yeah, I'm Brazilian now. I've been watching Netflix's first Brazilian TV series they've got on there.
Have you had to go to netflix.br?
No, no. But I've got no pubic hair now.
Well.
After watching it.
We've gone Brazilian people.
And it's called 3%,
Right.
and it's another sort of sci-fi, futuristic sci-fi, dystopian feature, and it's very reminiscent of watching 70s sci-fi in a weird way. Sort of the style they've done it, and sort of the sort of idea, because dystopian science fiction is something that is quite a 70s thing. Let's be honest, you don't get to see many films like it these days. There was big phase 70s and early 80s where it's all dystopian future.
Mm-hmm.
And not dystopian like everybody's dead, but more like, you know, some big organisations control everything and what have you.
Escape from LA, escape from New York.
Yeah.
America turns into a fucking prison.
Exactly. That sounds like a good plan.
Oh, wait, hang on a minute.
That's,
It is.
Yeah, that's getting not far from that, to be fair. So 3%. So it's
Well, that wasn't really sci-fi, but you know.
3% Brazilian sci-fi series set in the future, where it's never specified exactly where it's set, but basically there's this world where they have basically a large group of people. They live in poverty. These people all live in poverty. You know, it's very little resource, very little food, very little medicine. It's life is a daily struggle. I mean, they still like live in houses, but none of them have like sort of proper food or electricity. Some might have electricity, they're lucky, but they're quite dystopian for. But there's this place called the Offshore, and the Offshore is the exact opposite. High technology. There's no laundry food, brilliant medical care. You know, I mean, not environment, not like totally the world's greatest medical care. You know, if you're disabled, they can probably make you walk again, but they can't guarantee it. Type medical care.
Sure.
Yeah, but very sophisticated. You have very sophisticated technology and so forth. But what they do is, every year, when all the people who turn...
1 second.
No. So every year, all the people who turn 20 have the option of going through this thing called the process.
Right.
And basically the process is a series of tests, testing various things, you know, physical, mental, but the idea is at the end of it, the top 3%, of which on average only 3% make it all the way through to the end, get to go live on the offshore.
Okay.
So the offshore has no sort of, that has no sort of, well, it's not clear in the first series how they get information, but every year, if you're top 3%, you get to go live on the offshore. So people basically live for the only part of their lives, they live for getting ready for this process.
Right.
And it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. If you fail it and you're eliminated, that's it, you never get to go again.
Yeah, you know.
So yeah, you have to register for it. It's a once in a chance to do it. And so there's like almost like a religion built around it, which says the process is great, you need to prepare for it, and so there's like a religion built almost around it. As the people spend their entire lives, no one really knows quite what the process involves. You know, it's not widely discussed what the process involves. So people sort of don't really know how to prepare. But so you get 20, you get to go to this place, and if you get through. So it's both series are very different. So the first series rolls around a group of people who basically are going through the process. They've hit their date, they go to the place, and they get to go through the process. And you get to watch the whole 8 episodes is just them going through it. There's also this slight side story of there's this thing called the Cause, and they are against the process. They think that the Outlands got all these resources and so forth. Anybody should be able to have it. There shouldn't be this divide put in place in the process that artificially creates this divide. Shouldn't be there. So we need to basically stop the process for whatever means necessary, and basically force the Outland to support the inland. So that's the backstory. So there's like the process is sort of, when you go through the process, there are some infiltrators who work for the Cause, who basically they want to try and get through the process, so they get onto the Outland, then they can sort of set radio links, basically sabotage it from within. So the first whole season is basically following these candidates through from start to finish, and it's one of those seasons that basically it's making it very close. That it's almost like anyone can die type situation. In this case, anyone can get knocked out of the process. Because it isn't like total dystopia where if you fail you get killed. It's like, no, you go, goodbye, sorry, we'll lead you out and off you go. Type situation. They're not harmless. And if people do die, usually through suicide. They fail and they think the life's going to commit suicide.
Well, yeah, that's it, because that's a big event.
Yeah,
at the end of the day.
It's your one chance at living in permanent luxury, basically.
Yeah.
So
The
Yes,
one
it
thing
does.
that they had, their one driving force to get to the next day has
Uh,
been to get to this.
You spend your entire life preparing for something, and
And
then
fuck it up.
you may fail. And there's the first stage is interviews. You know, if you fail the interview, you're it. And there's like people who literally sit down and have an interview, and they're 5 minutes in, the person goes, "Nah, you're eliminated,"
Yeah.
and that's it. That's the process over. And it's heartless and hard, but you can just imagine the devastation that would be if you spent all that time,
Mm-hmm.
your entire life paying for something, then within 5 minutes, that's it. You're told you're not going to get through.
Mm-hmm.
So it sort of explores that sort of application. It watches the people go through their process and what sort of challenges. It's about every episode is this is the challenge they're going to face this week, how they're going to deal with it type of situation. It's like sort of the hardcore version of Crystal Maze, really. So that's the first season. The second season changed up a little bit. So some people get through. Also, I won't say who. Some people don't, and basically the people on the island, it's about how people on the island, people obviously decide to try and basically stop this from happening, how they're going to go about it. So it delves deeper into, rather than going through the process, into stopping the next process that's going to happen. So process 105, then 104, 105 happens every year. They're going to try and stop that from happening, and different groups. So you've got one group who want to like sort of destroy it completely, one who want to try and sort of find a more less violent way to end it. And different groups, and there's some people in the Outland, and you learn more about the Outland, a lot more about how it's founded, how it got where it was. So you obviously, because literally the first season you never see the Outland at all. I think you briefly see it in one like small shot, but in general you don't see it at all. It's only in the sense that you see a lot more of it because there are people there now. You can.
Yeah, sure.
It's this mystical place in the first episode. Then you get there, and obviously
Well, they've established characters who are just following.
Yeah, you are. So yeah, it's really neat. As it's a really neat series. I mean, there are only about 18 episodes in total. So you've gone through quite.
Is it
quickly.
over or?
The season 2, in my mind, season 2 is pretty much wrapped up. There is talk of a season 3, but after watching season 2, I'm not sure how they can really go from there because they've sort of come to a resolution.
Yeah.
And I can't see. It felt like a conclusion to a series.
Yeah.
It felt like a conclusion. So I would recommend watching. It's only 18 episodes or so.
What, 30 minutes an episode, an hour and a half?
45 minutes all episodes. Yeah, sort of standard sort of length. So yeah, I would recommend watching it. Don't do what I did and foolishly decide to watch the dub version because the dubbing is atrocious.
As is usually the case.
Yeah, well, I get the feeling that the dub actors were just given the scripts.
Which was the case way back in the day with dubs and even anime and in some cases games these days. They're just awful.
So you get bits where and also it's hard to, when you're on a recording studio, it's hard to shout and sound good. So when there's like a character who's proper shouting at somebody how to go, the dub's just talking normally, and it looks really good. So I mistakenly watched the dub, but because I was halfway through, it felt weird switching to the sub. I wish I had actually.
Can I throw out there that was one of the main beefs I had with the game recently, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I played that game for fucking 9 hours, and it sounded like they didn't even get the B team in for the voiceovers.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it was as you say, it was someone in a sound studio who had probably never read the script before in their
or
life.
seen the videos, so they knew how to properly
inflect it. The way I explain to people as I was playing through Xenoblade, even when I read things in Ys, as I've been streaming it after Xenoblade, I said to them, look, one of my biggest complaints about Xenoblade was the voice acting. So when I read things in Ys, I read it in a very dull, monotone way, because parts of it's are voice acted, and it's like, for some you're really dry, and everything's kind of monotone when you're reading parts of the dialogue. I go, yeah, but that's only because I'm taking the piss out of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Because when you're in battles and stuff, you're really energetic and full hype and that. I go, yeah, because I'm just taking the piss out of this other thing. But no, in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, it's almost like B team or C team has been handed the dialogue, the script and that. They've gone into a dark room, they've been given a candle, and there's no one else to talk to. They just have to deliver line by line off the script.
I get the feeling that the actors are just given the scripts, and if they would shown it and say, look, this is what the person you're dubbing is doing. Mm-hmm. They're in the speaker room giving a big speech to somebody, shouting at these people, but you're just talking normally. Some are better than others, but in general the voice acting is rubbish.
which is usually the case.
Yeah.
I mean, anime had this issue back in the 80s and early 90s. You'd imagine that no one had even seen what it was they were dubbing over. They were just random geezers, you know, the early days of dubbing over cartoons and film and that. Look at martial arts films in the 70s and 80s. They were fucking garbage, but
Yeah.
you know, you get what you give them.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, definitely. I would. So recommend it. Watch it with subs.
Spat through.
Oh no, he's got chocolate biscuits on his top.
Oh well.
Oh, well. Right, so I think that's everything. So 92.5, which I'm sure is a radio station somewhere.
Probably.
Podcast is now complete. I'm sorry, if you're the audio listeners, episode 92 is now complete. There is no 0.5. It's all recorded in one session.
As it's always been.
Yes, we never go over.
No. Although I would like to throw out there for people who have made it to the end of this episode, I have a correction.
Oh yeah.
It's nothing recent, but I remembered, because you know how crap my memory is. Just randomly, when we had that rant, I think it was like episode 70 somewhere, we were
Bloody hell, this is going back a bit.
we were shitting all over The Hobbit, and how the Hobbit film,
Yeah.
and how such a short book had become 3 films, which most people think is an absolutely dumb idea, but I believe at some point in it, I fucked up big time and said it was something like 88 pages. Right? It is an incredibly short book versus Lord of the Rings. It's 288 pages. I forgot the first 200 pages. I knew it was 88 something. There is a release of it that is 288 pages. I just couldn't remember.
But what size font are they using?
Probably 2.
So
Well, no, because I remember a very small print of it. I remember, like, it didn't have maps or anything in it, so it was very. And you know, Hobbit has maps and little bits about different places.
I think Lord of the Rings has maps in it as well.
Yes, but there are in some of the versions, like the book is considerably smaller or whatever, just because of the way they've laid it.
Well, that's a flashback.
Yeah, there you go, flashback.
Now they say we never correct ourselves.
There you go. Well, no, it just wound me up. So I was like, no, I'm sure it was more than that. I'm sure it was more than that. And then I looked, and I was like, 288 pages. There's still a book that you can read by the time that you get from here to Norwich. But, you know.
I remember for an English course I had to take, because I was told I wouldn't be able to go to university unless I did this course. Our assignment was to read H.G. Wells' The Time Machine, and that is a short book. That's I don't know how many pages, but it's not a lot. And the version I had was also designed for schools, because I bought it from. It was one that also, because it was in the curriculum, so I just went to town. They had lots of them on the shelf and bought it. They had quite big writing in it.
As it has to for public schools around here.
Yes, and I
Comic
can't remember how many pages it was. It wasn't long, probably about 120 pages. Right?
It is a short book, let's be fair.
Yeah, it is a very short book. So if that, I think it might even be that. So I went to bought it one day, went home, sat that evening, and read through the whole book in the evening. It spent about 2.5 hours, and we only had to read like a chapter a week. And I just went through the whole thing one evening. And we were going to the English class, and they said, "Oh, have you read it?" I said, "Yeah, I read the whole thing." And these two girls said, "How did you get through it so quick?"
It's only a few pages.
I said, "It took me an evening. It took me like 3 hours to do." "Oh, we struggled to get through like a couple of chapters."
Well, it depends.
Fucking
It depends
hell,
how.
seriously?
In fairness, though, it does depend how painfully numb these people's minds are. I mean,
Oh,
look,
I'll say it's a turn-century book, so the writing is different. So but you know,
sometimes some books can be quite a slog.
yeah, I mean, it's
You have
not.
to be
It's
really
not.
into a
It's
book.
not as indecipherable as Shakespeare is. Shakespeare is quite indecipherable unless you know quite what the lingo means and how they do
Yeah, for
things.
sure, but I mean,
This
like,
really isn't that indecipherable. You could figure it out quite quickly.
oh yeah, but it's not even a case of whether or not they're willing to figure it out. It's whether or not they're willing to put the time in
Yes.
to actually. Because if you read it, you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, this is crap. Like I have protested about various parts of school curriculum over the years. Like, why are we reading this? How is this relevant in this day and age? It
Yeah.
isn't. You're just giving it to us because it's something that's easy for you to palm off. And where you could be giving us, say, for example, book A, but no, you're giving us book B because it's cheaper, or
Yeah.
you know, you're more familiar with the material.
I think they like books that are in the public domain.
Yeah. Wow.
That's a big part of it. A lot of books that are in the public domain.
Well, yeah.
Because obviously then you can get copies in very cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Cheapness is a key.
But if you're not like, let's be fair, who the fuck is Romeo and Juliet was a huge thing. Every fucking time I've gone through it from one school to another, we had to have some kind of Shakespeare shoved up our asses.
We did Romeo and Juliet in this course as well.
Fucking it does.
It's either Macbeth or Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
It's one of them two, nearly always, isn't it?
And I just say, look, you know what? If you're gonna make me do this, I'll fail. I will take an F.
I liked the Channel 4 did a version of Macbeth with Sean Pertwee in it. And they did Macbeth, same dialogue, but they modernised it. And it was awesome. I liked it. So instead of riding around on horses, they're riding on motorbikes.
All right.
And they saw the three witches. They live in a quarry. They haven't got cold. They've got like a hobo bin.
Oh yeah,
They saw dirt rags and so forth. And that was really well done. But they use all the same dialogue. But the trouble is that dialogue is indecipherable. If you don't, I don't get why they make people read dialogue, because it's not like you can use a dialogue in the future. It's not like when you've read it, you're going to be able to.
Times change. Things change.
Time. It's not written. It's.
As an example, and this is going to be one that really irks me, but I was talking to a family member about it who was talking about her mother. So it's a grandmother talking to her mother, so a grandmother talking to a great grandmother, and she was saying how she had to explain the word gay, and to her mother it just meant happy.
Yeah.
But the words meaning had shifted over time, and so she had to explain the at the time current version of the word.
It's like the word fuck is now starting to become, you can't use it because it's becoming associated with like young black gangsters.
Yes, or urban is now synonymous with black.
Yeah.
But no, it isn't.
Yeah, it is no. And so it's like, I think this is more of an American thing. It's like, no, fuck just means you use fuck to refer to any young or any bunch of idiots basically who just, it doesn't have to be young, old, whatever. Any bunch of idiots just being, wrecking things for no good reason. You call them a fuck. Yeah. But that's now becoming almost. It's going to. It will become.
The thug was the muscle, weren't they? The thug was the muscle of a gang or whatever.
It's gone off so because it is it will become a racist term because it is named after. I think it's named after a. I'm going to get my history wrong now. The name derives from in India there were a group who were basically sabotaging the British, and they were the thugs. And that's where I think the term derives. So it was one of those words that was used possibly initially in a race where they're a bunch of thugs referring to these group of people in India. Then of course it moved to not being a racist term. Now it's moved back into racist, but we're probably to a completely different group. Yeah. But that's going to be a word. That will be a word. Next 15 years you won't probably be able to use. And I appreciate language changes and meanings change. It's just shocking for your gay example. Things change and you have got to adapt, unfortunately. Whether you agree with it or not, you have got to adapt to it.
I do think that we are butchering the language though.
But the thing is though, every generation does that. Shakespeare was made perfect sense to people 400 or 500 years ago. It made sense. Yeah, sure. Because the language, and if you listen to the way me and you speak from 100, if you've got people from 100 years ago listen to the way me and you speak, they'd say we're butchering the language.
We could even go back just 50 years.
Exactly, yeah. And but if you found people 50 years prior to, or 50 or 100 years prior to them, they're butchering. So it's not a case of I don't think we're butchering language now. We've always been butchering the language.
For sure.
So it's just how language has evolved. And the reason English as a whole sticks around as one of the most widely spoken languages is because it has always been one that will adapt and mutate, allow itself to mutate, which is why it will stay around forever. Whereas other languages are less spoken because they are more restrictive. Take French for a good example. They actually have a ministry who will control how that language should be spoken, and you're not allowed certain words. Yeah, but it's one of those things that's what the ministry says, but the average French person doesn't care. They're intermixed. Now language has mutated, but there's And a bit like we have received pronunciation in the UK, there's like the proper way you should speak French, and then the way Wales actually
Yeah,
does
for
it.
sure. Yeah.
It's a bit weird, but they get very up in arms if people on like TV don't use the proper way.
And you say,
So-
shut up.
Yeah, so language evolve, language adapts, so it's just one of those things.
Language, like society, will adapt, not
Yeah.
always for the best.
But I also think if you make people struggle through something when they're young, you put them off it.
Yeah.
So Shakespeare, perfect example. If you make people struggle through Shakespeare at school, they don't understand how the words, they can't get their head around it. One or two people, perhaps in every year, will go, that really speaks to me, and they'll go into more depth. A lot of people go like, screw that, I'm never reading it again.
See, I didn't find Shakespeare to be too hard to understand, and the use of the language wasn't hardcore. I
No.
mean, it was easy enough to understand once you could dig into it and look.
You
up
had
it.
to be, you did have to sort of like think about each.
Well, I had a decent
Yeah.
English teacher back
Yeah.
in the day. But the fact that, okay, so in year 7, here's some Shakespeare. Year 8, here's some Shakespeare. Year 9, here's some Shakespeare. Year 10, you better be ready for some Shakespeare. It's like,
Yeah.
you are now flogging a dead horse. I understand that
Yeah.
you think that Shakespeare is the shit.
There's also other good series. I get some like 1984 now, Animal Farm in there.
Yeah. Get me some Orwell in there for fuck's
Yeah,
sake. Come on,
yeah,
people.
fucking hell, yeah. There's lots of get some modern reads. Fucking hell, put some more Lord of the Rings in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are plenty of other folks using the English language brilliantly. Shakespeare is not the only person to nail
Yeah.
the language of the time.
No, he did at the time, but things have moved on, and it's because he's
I
probably
wish we read 1984 back in the day.
Mm.
My God, but
Well, I must admit, when I went to this English, I always thought we were going to be reading Shakespeare the whole bloody time, and I was not looking forward to it.
Mhm.
But as well, we got Time Machine, like for H.G. Wells, brilliant,
Mhm.
an actual book that you can
I read
follow.
that in high school.
Yeah, but you can. It's a book you can follow
Mhm.
easy enough. You don't need. I mean, any book that requires you to have a page of footnotes to understand it
Mhm.
is to me is not what you should be teaching people at school. That should be something you teach people at at a more advanced course.
Yeah.
So when you have your A level, I've got no interest in Shakespeare at A level because that's you have got an interest in that English. You want to go a bit more advanced. Let's do the more tough stuff. It's like throwing Shakespeare on people at the start. To me, is like throwing C++ to a group that's not learned how to switch a computer on.
No, for sure. I agree. I agree.
It's indecipherable.
Mhm.
So now we fix the educational system.
Yes.
We should be in charge. We'll see. Fix
Well,
it.
I don't know. It just winds me up. Can I just have one more rant about the education
Yeah,
system
yeah.
that I believe I've had before? Can we trash all of this design fluff in schools, please?
What about design?
So, yeah, I'm glad you said that because I'm going to get into it. So, once upon a time in my school, if you went in for design technology, you'd be taught how to design something, right, to eventually make it. However, you were not taught the skills to transfer that design from paper to an actual thing. They expected you to have already known it. That, like, maybe you'd already learnt something in middle school, like how to do,
woodwork,
join,
electrics, on
yeah,
that sort of thing.
in middle school. But a lot of people didn't.
Yeah.
So you then go in for, like, say, design technology in high school and fail because you couldn't make a certain joint to put something together properly.
Yeah.
No one actually taught you how to use a chisel properly,
No.
or something like that, or how to pack something in if you fucked it up.
Yeah.
So there's an entire generation of people who have no idea how to actually make anything with their bare hands.
No.
Another example, food technology, expecting you to have already known how to cook. They don't
No.
start you from scratch. They say, right, you obviously already know all of the beginner stuff.
Yeah.
Now design a product. It's like, but what if people came here expecting to learn to cook?
Yeah.
Kind of like maths. When you start maths, you didn't already start knowing your multiplication tables.
No.
You were taught them, and then you
Right
went
from the basics.
yeah. Can we stop teaching people, telling people to regurgitate a book? Can we stop teaching them, so I guess to get quotes, as if they've already got the foundations in place? Can we
Yep.
please start teaching these people useful skills?
Yes.
I want
Yep.
cooking to be something that's taught in schools again. I
Yeah.
want people to learn how to balance books rather than how to run a fictional business. Because they
But they tie together. That's something that you could tie together. Let's learn balancing books of small business. Okay, like
Yeah.
for yourself. Now let's okay, you can do it for a bigger business.
Yeah, because the problem I find is as well that a lot of people are going into schools and they're taking, like, say, degrees in business studies
Yes.
or business management. They're coming into an actual, like, they're running a store. They're coming in to take a job at a store, but they have no idea how the shop floor works.
No.
So they're fucking it up, and
No.
people are getting shat on because they're not following this random Wonder Child's plan to letter. Yet Wonder Child's plan doesn't actually work.
We had a guy at come to our store, one of the stores I worked at, and he was doing a college, like it's all like a part. We were like doing an apprenticeship for him. Basically, he was working for us like a couple of days a week to learn how to work in retail.
Mm-hmm.
And he was doing this course which was teaching him all these skills like managerials and so forth. And he honestly thought that after doing this course, he was only about sort of 16. He honestly thought after doing this course for like a year and a year, and working 2 days a week with us, he'd about to walk straight into a management job. No chance. No, I said to him, I had to have the harsh conversation saying, mate, I worked for this company 5 years before I got a management job. No company out there there'll be one out there that probably will hire you. They like you, but no main company out there will want to risk hiring somebody who's got zippo experience on a shop floor straight to management.
You would be surprised.
Most-
Tesco's employ people who have no idea how the shop floor works.
Yeah.
Birdseye employ people who have no idea how the factory floor works.
No decent company anyway.
Yeah, but then try and find a decent company in 2018.
Well,
but then again, try and find a decent customer in 2018.
yeah, it's true.
Self-entitled knob ends.
Just quick, wrapping back to schools. What I think should be taught to schools is there should be a section which is just below your cooking, which is just practical life skills.
Yes.
So, for example, how to use a fucking drill and a screwdriver and put a shelf up.
Yeah.
Just basic DIY tasks.
Yeah.
The amount of people who I see who don't know how to use a drill, who don't know the concept of how a screwdriver works. It's incredible. How to wire a plug. I know people get electricians to know to wire plugs for them.
Yeah, I know. It's awful, isn't it?
That's something that you could teach people in the small school. This season practicals. I watched this documentary. They took some people who did A levels in, like, got A stars. It's one of these things to say, have A levels got easier type jobs. So what they did was they got a group of people who all got like projected A stars, or they finished their exams at school for like summertime. They all got put A stars, and they put them in the school based on the 1950s. And they went for the same lesson. They were going to, at the end, they'd do their would have been I think it was O levels in the 1950s. I think whatever equivalent was.
Yeah.
They got to then do at the end of it and see how well they scored. Surprise, surprise, most of them scored pretty darn well, if not as good as. Okay. So what they're saying is, they haven't got any easier.
I was going to say that
they're proper exams as well. They're proper exams. The things that got through people were the fact that the exams, whereas modern exams were a lot more broken down, their exams were only like 6 questions, but you had to do a lot more work for each question. But one thing they taught people, and this was obviously in those days, schools were segregated, so boys and girls were still separate. So boys learned how to put a brick wall up.
Yeah.
They had to do physical, practical tasks. And I think the girls, they did like cooking and cleaning and so forth.
Cooking, cleaning, sewing.
How to run a house.
Needlework.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously sexist, but these days you don't have to do that. You can keep it together.
Yeah, sure.
So, but why are we teaching these practical life skills to people?
I know. I have friends that can't cook. It terrifies me. How do you live in this day and age?
And people, and what annoys me is when there's a skill which is quite simple, how proud people are they'll be able to do it. There are people who are proud they can't cook. And I just think, why? Why? Oh no, I can't cook. I can't even boil an egg, mate. How can you not boil an egg? Seriously,
I will admit, I don't cook that much, but I mean, you have to know how to cook.
Yeah.
I'd also like to say that taking something out of a packet is not the same as being able to cook.
No, putting it in a microwave is not cooking.
Yeah, for sure. Well, even like taking it out of a packet and putting it in the oven, that is not cooking.
Yeah.
Unless you're making it from scratch, you're not cooking.
We're not trying to
just heating things up.
Yeah, we're not trying to advance things here, are we? We're trying like how to properly check if meat's safe.
Yeah, sure.
How to properly cut meat up. How to properly fry something, boil something. When to know. You're
just asking you, like, can you debone this? It's not a hard thing to do. Then can you prepare it? Can you now cook it? Can you eat it? I'm not asking you to make me a fucking, a big ass meal, like several courses. I'm asking you to say, like, here is a raw material, prepare it, cook it. That's it.
The exam is you have to do a roast dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's a
honestly-
straightforward. Most things aren't actually that complicated.
No, that's it.
People think they're hard. They're not. They're actually really straightforward. They're just what makes it complex is you've got lots of things you have to sync up at the same time.
Yeah.
Other than that, they're not that.
Which is then also a decent skill to develop for time management.
Yes.
But no, we don't do that now. We look. I'll be honest. I flunked. If it wasn't already obvious, I flunked the majority of my exams. I'm a right asshole. If someone tries to make me do something that I don't like, even if it's for something that for a benefit, no, fuck you. And I've been horribly put off by the school system over the years.
Yeah.
Like I remember once upon a time, in a lot of my schools, as I said, we didn't really get taught base skills. We just got taught as if we already knew the basics. Like you got to high school, they assumed that your middle school had already laid all the groundwork.
Yeah.
They didn't.
No.
We had in middle school all of the stuff there to learn how to code.
Yeah.
Like it was all there. There were labs and everything. We had all the equipment, all the program tools. We did programming for the grand total of about 4 months, if that.
Yeah.
When we got to high school, that was all gone. It was ICT. So they'd binned comp sci.
Yeah.
And then it was, well, you're clearly really good at using a computer because you can type up a Word document. It's like, yes, we can do these in 15 fucking minutes. This isn't hard. I could do your entire year's course in an afternoon.
I think a lot of that is a lot of things are just generational things. That the people who didn't grow up with people who running schools then probably didn't grow up with computers. So to them, writing a Word document probably was highly technical.
Well, no, but then if you think about it, we had perfectly legitimate comp sci courses from the 80s.
Yes.
Right? However, by 1998, comp sci was dead. At least around here.
Yes.
So how did we go from, I mean, come on man, we were huge into computers back in the 80s and early 90s.
When Cambridge, the town of Cambridge was one of the leading towns for computers.
And this is why Raspberry Pi became a thing. So I do believe one of the guys from the Raspberry Pi Foundation actually worked at Cambridge at one point.
Cambridge, it's got
Yeah.
Cambridge markers on, hasn't it?
And he said that basically we were letting people into university based on previous grades in computing, but they had no idea what they were doing.
Yeah.
So we were teaching them from the ground up, and it was taking us a lot of time. So we wanted to make it like how it was when we were children, learn it in schools from a young age. Because I don't remember half the stuff I was taught. I don't even find half of it useful. I can barely spell my own name, for Christ's sakes. And these days, apparently, most people can't anyway. But it just... Oh, we changed so much. We've been so much. I talked to one of my friends, his little girl up north. She's now doing computer sciences. The closest thing to comp sci in my kids' school was they did a couple of weeks on an iPad. Yeah.
That's not computer science.
No, I know, but that's what we get, and that's the problem that we have, that we don't. Whilst we're all following a curriculum, we're not all reading from the same hymn sheet.
No.
And a degree that you get in one university is going to be worth half as much as the exact same degree from another college or university.
The other big issue with the school system, this is something that would be very, and I will admit, it's a pipe dream. It'd be something that would be very hard to sell to people, and it would be hard to administrate. People should be allowed to advance based on their ability, not, oh, you've come to the end of the year, you must go on to the next one.
Yeah.
So things like maths, if somebody hasn't quite got there yet, don't say, well, you're going to have to go on to the next year now.
Yeah, because they're not ready for it.
And they'll go there. What happens is they're not quite ready for it, but they probably could do it. They're just not quite got there yet. They need a little extra bit of work. So you shove them to the next year. They go there, and this is all more advanced than they're used to. And they go, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I hate maths. I hate maths.
I've seen it.
Oh, I
see it with kids even now.
It's a common shit. It's an incredibly common thing.
Maths isn't that hard. Yeah. Admittedly, I fail at it because I always forget basics, but maths isn't that hard. No. I've been spoiled by spreadsheets.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, I've never been very good at algebra, but I do computer programming, and half of truth terms are basically algebra. But they're two devices. I'm not that great at maths. I admit it, but I'm trying to learn. I'm actually working my way through. I'm embarrassed to admit it, but I'm now working my way through A-level course books because I want to get better at maths because I'm not actually that good at it. I just never really put that much effort into it.
Yeah, sure.
So
I'll be honest, like that isn't already obvious, or like it isn't all that obvious. I've never put any effort into school. I fucking hated school. Absolutely hated it.
No.
Anything I wanted to learn, I went out and learned.
Yes.
After the fact.
Yeah. But we should get it so that you're not quite ready yet. You're going to have to redo this module and so forth to get ready. But we have to get that. That's not a shameful thing.
Yeah.
You're not ready for it. Yes, you've got to do this, but so and so who is going through next year, they're not so good at English, they're going to have to redo that.
Yeah.
You have to get this, and that's the hard sell because people will see it as failure. If you say you're going to go back and do this,
That is the best teacher.
Yeah, but people outside will see it as failure, and people get people like you're failing, and so forth. That's the hard thing to sell it with. But I think in the long run, generally it'll be the better way to do it because then you'll have more people at a level. Yes, you may end up with people finishing with not quite A-level qualification, but if they can at least understand the basics, again, back to where I work, the amount of people who come in who don't know how to work out an area, that is real basic stuff. Yeah.
What like that?
Yeah, and people look at you, and when you say watch this measure, what's that measure, you just calculate it.
Yeah.
They'll look at you like you're some maths genius.
Very basic stuff that they should have learned.
I can times two numbers together.
Yeah, like how hard is that?
Yeah, exactly. And then how many packs this one needs? Well, I can divide. If you can multiply, all you do is, fucking hell, calculator will do it for you.
Most people can't operate a calculator these days, which is terrifying. But you have to run. The calculator isn't going to straight out give you the answer. You're going to need to know some basics to understand what you have to put into a calculator. But once you know that stuff,
garbage in, garbage out. So you don't have to solve any sort of equation unless you know how to set it up.
Yeah.
And maths is really interesting. I've watched maths channels on YouTube. And it's really interesting when you see people, if you have the right person showing it and how it works.
Yeah.
But you've got to accept that no prior knowledge or work people through the basics. And the trouble is maths is very much a thing that's built on foundations.
Yeah.
You can't jump from you can't jump from A to B. You have from A to D. You have to go A, B,
yeah.
C,
You can't
D,
toss
E,
a child
F.
into A-level maths and expect them to know
No,
what they want to
you
do.
can't. Because English to a certain extent is a bit like that, but it just needs to be more interesting, I think.
Yeah.
Hell, why don't we just be really out radical and show forms of media in English? Like, put comic books in there.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't put comics in there. That's not proper writing. It's got words in it.
It's got fucking decent spelling, decent punctuation.
Yeah, it's got words and spelling.
There's something interesting.
And it's an interesting way. You looking how they use that punctuation to emphasise things and to things across. One of my favourite jokes about comic books is you look at them and every sentence ends with an exclamation mark. But why do you do that way? That's an interesting thing to discuss and bring up. Saying why is this comic book written this way, whereas this technical document's written this way, and this early sort of like 1920s book written this way. Why is that? That's an interesting topic to bring up and work through and discuss.
To help people understand why the importance of language context.
But you can't put comics in because you're dumbing down. You need to have more Shakespeare. That is the art. You can't.
That's the logic of.
And half people who say that probably don't remember any Shakespeare they read. But they seem to, for some reason, we've got into the head that you must learn Shakespeare. I learned Shakespeare at school. You must learn Shakespeare. When does that become useful in your everyday life? I don't know.
The school system hasn't evolved with the times.
No.
Shamefully. I reckon if I took GCSE maths and English these days, I'd fail. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care now. I have less fucks to give now than I did back then.
I got a C in GCSE English and a C in maths.
I don't even remember taking maths in English.
Yeah, I took them most of college.
I'm pretty sure I put my fucking name on a page, and in a lot of cases I either walked out or just fucking wrote "tat" on the page. Yeah. I hated school, and it couldn't end fast enough for me. It really couldn't. Let's be fair. I came out of school with enough scars and enough injuries to have a separate file in the hospital. Once you get a medical file, once it goes up to a certain point, like most old people only have a file. Yeah. I have two. Yeah. I have two medical files.
When you have a filing cabinet to yourself.
Yeah, well that was always the joke. I might as well have my own hospital wing. I got burnt, I got stabbed, I got blinded. You know, I hated school with a fucking passion. There was no way any of that was going to sink in. And then when I got to college and university, and it was literally in college. Let's put it this way: in my college, they gave you a checklist, and if you followed the checklist, you got a high grade.
Yeah.
And in the end, I was like, so what do I need to do to pass? That bit. So the last day of the subject, done. Lowest possible grade, but it only took me like 20 minutes one afternoon to print it out and get it all ready to go. There you go, job done. In university, regurgitate this book. You've just spent several £1,000s. Regurgitate this. And do you get access to any of the lecturers? You get to sit there and listen to them. Can you actually have a natter with them if there's something you don't quite understand? Good luck.
Yeah.
Not worth the time or the effort, in my opinion.
No.
We teach all of the wrong stuff.
Yeah. Fucking PE. Ugh.
Yeah.
If kids are sporty, they'll want to do sports. You don't have to fucking spool time lesson put aside for it. I hate it.
Religion, art, music. They are optionals. Geography, optionals.
Although I would say I don't think necessarily things like the basics of math are necessarily a bad thing.
No.
So I think there are some basics of geography that are useful, and also things like.
But then you can put that into life skills. But then these days, look at it. How many people actually know how to read a map?
It's not taught you see properly. I mean, from what I remember, geography was different types of rock. Well.
Longshore drift.
Yeah. I mean, how about something? Yeah. What can? Let's start the practical stuff. Okay. So map reading. I think map reading is actually not a bad thing to teach. I think being able to look at and say, right, okay, look at the way this lies land. You can see weather curve. We can tell by the way the land is that the weather's going to do this. If you're out somewhere, you'll be able to look and go, you've been taught that rain cloud's going this way. I better think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Practical skill.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, how
being prepared in this day and age.
Yeah,
but funny,
geography stuff. That's something. But I like science, so to me, geography's it. But
yeah, but I don't think that, like, say, music, arts, and that are all that. They're not useless either. But let's be fair. There are other things you could be learning.
Yeah,
there are other things that you could be doing if you really want to learn how. The trouble is, when you go to an art class, they don't teach you any skills. They don't teach you how to paint. They don't teach you how to draw. They don't teach you how to sculpt.
No, you're absolutely right. They don't. They just expect you to be good at it.
Yeah, which is what they tend to do with most schools now anyway. You're not taught the foundation. They expected you to have learnt the foundation stuff. Yeah. So in high school, they'll give you a fucking whole list of choices, expecting that you've already learnt the basics elsewhere.
Yeah. I remember doing art school, and I can't draw to save my life. I literally cannot. I've never had to draw. To a young age possible, swimming. Yes, that's practical. I agree. That swimming is a practical skill. That is, I would agree.
But no one teaches swimming these days.
No.
Well, not entirely true. My eldest son is doing swimming in school at the moment.
Cool.
But that's not everyone learns how to swim at school.
No. But yeah,
Road sense.
Yeah.
I'd like that, please.
I can't draw. I've never had to draw. I have tried better, and I'm still basically at stick figure level.
Mm-hmm. I used to be able to draw quite well.
My sister got the artistic talent. She's an amazing drawer. She sucked all that artistic talent before I got there.
She took that point.
Yeah, I've got the science talent. She's got the artistic talent.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't draw in my life. At school, in art class, I got so disillusioned because I was told what you're doing is basically rubbish. It's not good enough. Do it again. I can't do it any better. I literally, this is a skill that you can't practice it and get better. You have to have if you ain't got a certain knack to start with, you're not going to get so much better.
They wanted you to bang out a Picasso, yet you didn't really know how to operate You didn't really know how to properly operate a pencil at this point.
Yeah. Again, back to practicality. Being able to draw a simple diagram to explain something to somebody, practical. Yes, good, makes sense. That I can do.
Mm-hmm.
Be able to draw a basic map.
Useful skill
that I can do. That's the art that I think is the useful side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Music, again, if you're interested in music, you'll do music. Mm-hmm. You know, kids are naturally interested in certain things. trying to force on who's tone deaf to play music instruments is just...
Yeah, I
just-
have that issue
yeah.
as well.
Religious education. I think religious education is now sort of too broad. I think what it would be good to teach in schools is cultural, because I think half of hate you get in this country is based on lack of understanding of other cultures. People just assume things about other cultures that they read in the Daily Mail and assume that's how it is. They don't understand it. So I think we should teach about other cultures.
Yeah.
And you could bring religious education
They
into that.
used to do that in primary schools, but by the time you get to middle school, they scrap that.
Yeah. That's where the education can tie in, you see, because as part of other cultures, you're going to look at the dominant religion in those cultures. And that's fine. You have to teach about these things, people like the idea. But let's, spend some time learning about particularly cultures of people you're going to probably encounter in this country. Let's work on explaining those cultures. And this day and age, probably want to learn about Chinese culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's and that would actually go to help solve a lot of problems you have with discrimination you get these days, because most discrimination is based on ignorance and not as other cultures.
I'd like to also throw out language.
Yeah.
To be fair, I learnt 3 languages going through school.
Yeah.
I remember none of them because I've never had to use them.
Yeah.
I even remember having to correct my German teacher in my spoken exam. After that, and don't get me wrong, I was awful at fucking German, but by the time I got through it, and by the time once I got to the exam, I was just like, screw this up, throw it on the fucking floor,
Yeah.
failed. Just did not care anymore.
Yes.
We need to start looking at students as individuals.
Yes.
We need to stop packing
Yes.
classes, 50 students to one teacher,
Yeah.
or a single teacher to 50 students and a TA or whatever.
Yeah.
That should not be a fucking thing. We need to, as you say, stop moving people forwards when they're not ready to move forward. Stop assuming that people have already learnt the basics elsewhere. Stop forcing them into a high level if they're definitely not. If they're not ready, because they're just going to become disillusioned. They're going to become disenfranchised. and they're
If
gonna
you
give
push
up.
people too much and they fail, people go one or two ways. I think most older people go, I can't do this skill, it's not for me, I'll move on. When you're young and you fail at something, oh, it's boring, not interesting.
Yeah.
And I was the same when I was young. I was the same when I was young. If I couldn't do something, oh, it's boring, it's rubbish, it's shit.
I'll be honest, I do that now. I actually look at people who are better than me at certain things, and I'm like, I can't do that, I'm not going to try.
No, but
a lot of
you don't go, oh, that's fucking boring as shit, though.
I know some people that do, but I personally don't.
Exactly. That's what that's the difference. Whereas a lot of people are like, if I can't do something, therefore it's boring and shit. Whereas I think as you get older, you go, I can't do it. That's just not a skill I can do.
Yeah.
There are lots of skills I can't do. There's more skills out there that you can't do than you'll be able to do.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Lots more. No matter who you are, there'll be 1,000 things you will not be able to do. And you'll be competent at probably a few hundred things, but you'll be good at perhaps a dozen things.
Yeah, sure.
And you'll be really good at perhaps about 3 or 4 things when you break it down. It's just one of
School
those
needs
things.
to also stop with the whole teaching. Giving someone a book and telling them to regurgitate it is not teaching them. And also, don't start history GCSEs or RE or something like that. Here are 3 blocks, learn this, it's going to be on the test. They have no idea. You haven't fostered a love of history or religion or art or music. You've taught them some very shitty, pointless things that they don't really need.
There's a balance between you have to learn fundamentals, and there's a balance between making people. You've got to get people interested.
But that's what they don't do.
Exactly.
They're not willing. They don't try and make it so that you enjoy the subject. They make it so that you can repeat something. Right. If I had to say anything before we close up, and I'm not saying that we have to stop this discussion right now, but for anyone that is currently in school, your SATs tests, your GCSEs, whatever they may be, controversial viewpoint here, they are not for you. Your GCSEs and your SATs results are basically grading systems for the school from the government to say how well they have taught you. How well are they doing your job? Not how smart you are
Yeah.
as a person.
Most employers, the
Mhm.
majority of employers out there, unless you want to go into some form of science, like physicists or something, then that's the university will have those, because they have to have some sort of scores, and that's the easiest way to filter it.
Mhm.
Most employers, and I say as a person who's had employed people, don't give a shit about your GCSEs.
Nope.
You know, you may look at it and go, oh, they can do, they've got C maths, good enough.
Mhm.
And that's about it. They really don't give a shit. So when you put a CV in somewhere and you've got a list of 30 GCSEs on it, most employers skip that.
Mhm.
Unless the only thing they may get a bit about is if they see lots of Fs on it.
Mhm.
They may.
I don't even have GCSEs, so I
Yeah.
couldn't even
Well,
have them.
I've got two
There you go.
in my. I've got two GCSEs in my life.
Mhm.
But most employers don't give a shit about them. I say, and to be fair, once if you go into a position where a job where you're going to be a higher level skill, they want to see a degree.
Yeah.
They don't want to see GCSEs.
No,
The
like
only
us, they don't
people
even
who
really
will
wanna see
care
A
about the only people who will care about GCSEs is universities who will be using it as a filtering process.
Yep.
And that's in some ways fair enough.
In the
'Cause-
grand scheme, I got into university without GCSEs.
yeah, well, but there's access courses, aren't there?
Mhm.
That was what we did.
Mhm.
That was Foundation was actually it was effectively an access
Yeah, sure.
course. So there are ways and means. So don't be
Well,
disheartened.
no, but I mean, the idea was that we weren't even supposed to do that unless we had
Yeah.
GCSEs. And
But
I
then
mean, I
we
wasn't
done-
even supposed
But
to
then
go
we
to.
had done the ABC before that, hadn't we? So
I wasn't
we
even
sort of
supposed. You weren't supposed to be able to go into that without GCSEs.
Yeah.
And I got in just from showing them my programming work.
Yeah.
That's actually
So
how I got into university.
There are other ways through, and I said the only people making about GCSEs is like universities.
Mhm.
In which case, you know, okay, if you're into something, go for it,
Mhm.
and put the effort in and get it. But don't beat yourself up if you get a B in something,
Oh God, yeah.
because I think I can speak for people I've spoken to, but most employers will go C or above, good enough.
Yeah.
C, as far as I'm concerned, the difference between an A and a C is not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that's like a D
Must be
or
fair.
below-
If you're doing a higher paper, that's like literally a couple of points.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
a couple of
exactly.
points. If you're doing a foundation paper, there's quite a gap. Well, let's put it this way: if you're doing a foundation paper, you're not getting anything higher than a C anyway,
yeah, no,
because
that's,
you can.
which I've always found a little bit.
I
I
always-
sort of get the idea, but I find it a little bit.
Well, okay, so another beef that I have with the school system, when you are giving people two-tier tests, foundation and higher, right? Please do not give higher students some of the same questions that are on the foundation paper. So don't say, oh yeah, higher students you only need to get 9 answers correct to get a C, yet foundation you need to get, say, 20, yet some of those same questions are on the same papers.
Yeah.
Like, oh look, question 5 on foundation is exactly the same as, say, I don't know, question 15
Yeah.
on the higher. Don't do it. That is cheap, it is
Yeah.
fucking nasty, and just...
And guess on the pre-free draw exams, like I think it was Edexcel made a cock of one the Shakespeare exam actually. They put the wrong thing. Or do you like that Chinese exam did? That was brilliant. Question on a Chinese exam, the photos and translation, everything to prove. If a car, now I want to put this to you, okay?
Oh dear.
And I'm slightly butchering this slightly. A cargo ship has got 35 sheep on it
Mhm.
and 20 chickens on it. How old is the captain?
Oh joy. Marvellous.
Someone gave a good answer. They said in China to be able to drive a cargo ship that big, you have to have at least 8 years experience. You can't be managing a ship until you're 18. Therefore, he's got to be at least 26.
Good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That is good.
Well,
Just
right.
those little things just irk me. There are just little
Yeah.
things that really get on my nerves.
yes.
So many people that don't actually have base skills or any life skills to speak of. Admittedly, you shouldn't really be taking any kind of advice from me because I'm a bit of a thickie, but
Yeah, we're probably the best people. I mean,
you know.
we're just two dudes sat in front of a webcam on the internet.
Yeah.
So we're probably the best. As you say, we're not probably role models.
No, but still, having survived 33 years and still I'm able to feed myself,
Yeah.
I think I have more skills than most.
Yeah.
Um,
And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how high qualification you've got on something. If you need your car fixed and you don't have to change, do some basics, you're going to pay a lot of money at a garage to get into change the brake pad.
I'd like to throw out there that it doesn't matter what qualifications you've got. An idiot is still an idiot if you haven't got common sense.
Yeah. Yeah, and there are a lot of jobs out there which people think are looked down upon, but in fact you do need to have a certain noggin about you to be able to do it properly.
I would also like to say that I dislike Average Joe Public because they seem to think that retail jobs are under them, care jobs are under them,
oh yeah, okay.
farming jobs are under them, or agricultural management is under them. I don't want to become a farmer. I want to be a YouTuber. It's like, well, what good is look? I've worked in video production. I've worked in audio production. I've done all the fluff jobs under the sun. I've filmed people. I've photographed people. Any fucking idiot can do that stuff.
Yeah.
Anyone can do that. It's like Sam's like, I've got an art degree. Why? Why?
Yeah, that's really good to hear. Now give me my coffee.
Yeah, like fucking. Oh, and also, a degree is only as good as the job pool.
Yeah. So you say, yeah. Art.
What I mean by that is, okay, so example, an art degree is fucking useless. The only thing you're going to do with an art degree is become an art teacher.
It's like comp sci v game design degrees. You get a comp sci degree.
No, but even if you were to get a comp sci degree, you also have to understand that there aren't a huge number of jobs.
No,
the pool for employment in comp
it's a
sci.
more general degree, which opens a lot more avenues up for you.
Yeah, for sure. If you're going to get a degree, get a good one, not get a useful degree, not a.
Get something that's in the field, but it's quite general.
Yeah.
So don't do game design. The good old job beneath me for by body force the other jobs. Yeah. If you want to work, get to bloody work. Very true. That is very true. Actually, I work in farming, and there are a lot of jobs that people claim that the foreigners are taking, but they wouldn't do.
No, that's it.
Would you, if you ask the average Joe person, right? We're a dairy farm. We milk cows. Cow needs to be milked every day. They don't care. They don't care that you want Sunday off. They need to be milked. Because if you don't, they get ill. You can't. So you've got to be up there 4 a.m. every morning milking those cows.
I don't want to do it.
And again in the evening.
I don't want to do it.
I was like, no, I'm not doing that. Well, then
That's
why do you think we're hiring Polish people, Romanian people to do it for us? Because do you know what? They don't give a shit. They'll come, they'll do it, and they'll take the money, and they'll send money back home, take out the economy. But you know what? Good on them for actually doing the job.
For sure. The job needs to be done, and you're too important to do the job.
Are you going to sit on a track? So cabbages, or lettuce. If you have a lettuce in your house, okay, that's not harvested by machine generally. Do you know it's harvested? They have like a big, long. It looks like a bit like basically a hut. Inside a hut are a load of seats, which is open bottom. There are people in the hut, and they sit with a knife, and there's a little conveyor belt behind them. But literally, they drag it across the cabbage fillet with a knife, whip underneath, put it in the conveyor belt constantly, all day long. Okay? Bloody boring, monotonous job. Right? Average Joe person, I'm not doing that job, bloody boring. So, do you know what? Yeah, we hire your.
I used to be like that until I hit my, I'd say probably late teens, early 20s.
Yeah.
I remember ripping into my dad for doing factory work. I fucking protested. I actually had a job lined up for me at a factory, so it's not like, you had to be a rocket scientist to do it. But I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, man, like, really? I've got, I was one of these fucking idiots, like, oh, well, I've got qualifications, why the fuck would I do this? Completely, ignoring the fact that I was just literally ripping 7 days of shit out of my dad, in the process saying, well, you're just a fucking idiot, what do you know? But then, I got there, did the fucking job, and it was brilliant. Absolutely fucking loved it. Absolutely loved it. One of the best jobs I've ever done. Better than most jobs I've done.
We make jokes about people's jobs. We look down on people's jobs, but we shouldn't do, because half people's jobs who we look down on, ultimately we need the economy. You look down on someone who works. Look down on a dustbinman. Yeah, but if he didn't exist,
you'd wallow in shit.
Yeah. So don't look down on them. Celebrate them. They're the ones who make. Ultimately, they're the ones who make the world, our day-to-day world move round.
Yes.
The person who spends 6 years at a research lab developing a new material that might have a future use. Yes, it might do. In the long run, it might produce something. But here and now, you want your cup of coffee in the morning. Don't look down the person who makes your cup of coffee.
Don't piss on the barista or.
Yeah, exactly. Because they'll just piss in your coffee.
Yeah. Well, and I tried to explain that to some folks today. This is really like post-show round nerds because we're already on the end of the thing. But I was talking to some folks in retail today, and he's like, "Yeah, people are so abusive." I go, "Yeah, because they're entitled pricks." I said, "But at the end of the day, they come to this shop to buy what they want, so whether it be a t-shirt, some shoes, and they're coming and buy a coffee, food, whatever. Like, let's just go to a coffee shop, you go to a clothes shop, shoe
Yeah.
shop, whatever. And they look down on you like you're a piece of shit because they're the customer and you're the lowly asshole that's working.
Yeah.
Right? They don't seem to understand that, oh, fucking customers are a bunch of dickheads where I work because they always look down on me like I'm there. So you do the same thing when you go to another shop. But those shelves don't get stacked and filled if there wasn't some random guy there. You wouldn't be able to go in there and get your coffee were it not for the person who went
And don't forget, there's even working beyond that. Somebody's got to drive the lorry to that place. Somebody's got to be at the factory making those products and working at the distribution and blowing products up. Somebody's got to do that.
I feel horrified that people look down on things like agricultural management, yet look up to footballers, YouTubers.
Yeah.
Those are entertainers. They should not get paid more than a farmer.
No.
No. The supermarket should not get paid as much as the farmer, because it's the if it weren't for the farmer, the supermarket wouldn't have anything to put on their shelves.
And they get big enough and they basically say they can bully people.
Yes.
We're only going to pay X, Y, Z. I mean, a good example, a farmer will make on a litre of milk maybe 2 pence. Okay, a litre of milk.
Look at the markup on the supermarket.
Yeah, so they'll probably sell it about 22p, 24p, but by the time you take out all the feed, all the vet bills, all the machine, very expensive machinery involved in milk production, because you've got to keep it so clean and sterile. It's an expensive bit of kit, though, machines. I mean, a new milk pile costs you 30, 40 grand. Okay, it's a significant investment. That's just the machinery, that's not the pile itself. They make 2p a litre. You've got to have a lot of cows to make 2p a litre. There shouldn't be a world. Whereas, if a supermarket charged an extra penny a litre for their milk and passed on to the farmer, he's got a 50% increase in pay. That's not a lot. A penny per litre isn't a lot, but you might see, we want to be the cheapest around. How do we do it? We need to cut down the prices of people buying from. If you don't give it to us that price, we'll go somewhere else.
Well, look at stuff like Coca-Cola in there versus price of petrol.
Yeah.
And how people complain. It's like, but look at what they had to do to get the petrol, to refine it and bring it to you and all that, to drill for it. They had to float a rig.
They had to build the rig.
Yeah, engineer it, build it, float it.
Yeah, but bear in mind, you probably drive to work. They get took by bloody helicopter. They're not cheap to run.
Nope.
They get took out there by helicopter. Those helicopters only hold like 4 or 5 people at a time. So, it's not, it's a...
And then you look at how much they charge per litre and then...
And I think most of that is tax. You half the price roughly, 60 pence a litre.
And yet we don't complain about, the sugar drink that they can make fucking piss easy. I mean, I could make Coca-Cola in my own house. It's not a difficult process.
No.
It's not expensive.
Yeah.
We pay and look up to we pay the most to and look up to all of the wrong people.
Exactly.
There's no way a footballer should get paid more than a doctor.
Sports stars in general get, not all of them, but a large chunk of them get paid way too much. I think yourself, if you're a footballer, a large of your income comes through sponsorship. So do you know what? Let's pay you a really basic wage. It could be a good wage, say 100 grand a year.
Fuck me, I'd love 100 grand a year.
That was it. It's a good wage, okay? Very good wage, okay? The rest of it you'll make through sponsorship and sponsorship deals. None of this £1 million a week rubbish.
Nope.
Well, I think that's an exaggeration, but it's
let's be fair. They don't even need 100 grand.
No.
They don't need 100 grand to kick a fucking ball around a pitch or to to train XYZ amount of time. They don't need it. They do not need it.
No.
They don't need it. You could be giving that to farmers, you could be giving that to doctors, you could be giving that to the fucking ambulance service.
Yeah.
Look at the fucking police force.
Yeah.
We barely have like fucking 30 officers for the entirety of the East Coast.
Yeah.
Come on. Most towns don't even have police stations anymore. You can't you can't nick someone and lock them up in Lowestoft fucking police station because there's nowhere to put them. You have to take them to Norwich.
Well, in fact, when I spoke to a police officer for official reasons, not for I'll be arrested, on Christmas Eve, I spoke to a police officer and I was talking to him and he was telling me that any unlucky persons who get arrested that night, because they're now full at both Lowry and Norwich, were going to King's Lynn.
Yeah.
And they'd wait the next day without a lift.
Mhm.
Don't forget about from King's Lynn.
Mhm.
So there you go.
We were told the ambulance service was so pushed last time we did the podcast that the police were having to take people to the hospital, and then the police were so short that they couldn't even help people unless someone was like getting stabbed or
well,
whatever.
someone did.
We know. But you know, multiple people actually. We heard over the radio.
Yeah. So.
Not the actual stabbing, but we heard that someone had pressed the panic button. A police officer and an ambulance crew member had hit the panic button. Look, when your ambulance crew have to wear a stab vest, there's a fucking problem.
Yes.
Right? When your police are look they're the criminals. All right, they work with the government, and the government is the biggest bunch of fucking criminals you'll ever find.
But in general, I think
police officers just try to do the job, same as someone in retail.
and they have a really shit job.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think our police get coloured a little bit bad by the American police, who have got a spotty reputation. They haven't got a good reputation of how they deal with people, and they do tend to have a habit of shooting people they shouldn't.
Yep.
But our police tend to get tarnished that reputation. But I think our police, and in general, do a bloody good job.
Yep.
And they do a bloody job I wouldn't want to do.
I said that to the police that we spoke to last week. I said, I wouldn't do your job. I'd be fucking sacked in a minute. Some little bastard gave me lip, I'd fucking nut him.
Yeah.
Couldn't handle it. I said, and you get spat on with a smile.
Yeah.
You know, they're wearing body cameras because they're live. They have to be.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
they have to be
bad
accountable.
thing, but I mean, it's in some ways, it's protect themselves. So there'd be no just
for sure. Because then no one can say, well, he got violent with me at XYZ time. He'll say, no, I've got the camera running to prove it. But now, average Joe public's like, well, fuck off, pig. You know, that's the kind of attitude you get.
Yeah.
There was a young lad outside of a supermarket in town recently, and he was taking the piss out of a community support officer. I was thinking to myself, fucking hell, if that was my boy, I'd give them the back of my hand. Disrespectful little shit. Then you speak to the community support officer, and they're like, yeah, but where do you think the kid gets it from? So, well, the parents are the disrespectful shit stains.
Yeah.
But then when the police are there to try and help them, look, let's say that, you know, my car's been nicked, and then they call the police. The police turned up. The police still get fucking berated as if it was them that stole the fucking car to start with.
Where were you?
It's like, well, there's only so much 15, 20 people can do at the station. There's a lot more of us than there are of them. There are a lot more crims out there than there are coppers.
No.
But the trouble is, we've taken all of the power away from the police, the teachers, you know, the ambulance. The fact that the ambulance crew, again, they have to wear body cams, stab vests. They are there to literally try and make you comfortable to get you to someone who can help you in a time of need. Yet we threaten them, we belittle them, fucking stab them.
Yeah.
You know, you go to a hospital and you start shouting abuse at people at a hospital.
Yeah.
They're trying to make
I
you
think
feel bad.
another thing though is mainly the tabloid media don't help because they put these stories out here. Oh, hospital did this, hospital did that. They never tell the good things that they do. So people have got this idea from reading the Daily Mail, the Sun, that hospitals all they do is ever kill people and don't do anything properly. You know, in all my years, all the times I've had experience at hospital, I've only experienced good things. I've heard about bad things with people.
Yeah,
bad things happen.
Yeah.
But in general, my run-ins with the hospital have always been. I walk out and I think, do you know what? I have to pay for that.
No, that's it. Yeah.
Now, I'd rather live in a world now where I have to wait a bit longer to be seen to.
Yeah.
But it's not going to cost me a penny. Than live in a world where I get seen to immediately. That's a £5,000 bill, thank you.
Yeah. Well, I've got mates that were practically made homeless because, you know, in America they didn't have insurance. Or the
If
insurance.
you've got insurance.
Yeah.
You know,
I'd be dead. Let's put it this way: I would be dead by now if we lived in America.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford half the surgeries that I had.
No,
Admittedly,
dead or crippled.
Yeah. Well, getting that way now, but like the NHS, they fucked up surgery on me before.
Yeah.
Several times. My left leg and left foot it's not unusable. Obviously, I walk around and that it's painful. They fucked up 3 surgeries on my foot and my leg between 2010 and 2008 and probably 2012. Same with one on my shoulder, but there were risks there, and they knew that they might not
Yeah.
work. They didn't work.
Yeah.
They did the first one, didn't work. Do you want to have do you want us to have another go? Sure. Third one fucked up. Second one fucked up. There's not.
So
really
was it a fuck up or the dice didn't roll in your favour?
that was a fuck up.
Oh.
The first one there was supposed to be a wire put in. They fucked up. So they did the surgery, but they didn't put the wire into it because I was a test case for a surgery and it didn't work. But then it wasn't actually done the way that I'd agreed to have it done to start with. So the second one in was a correction to the first one, but then the second one also didn't go very well. So there had to be another repair done.
Yeah.
To basically I had a wire and some metal wire put into my leg, and it didn't sit properly. It started to push back through my foot, and so the third one I had to have the stuff removed. Which has actually now made it quite. I'm in more pain now than I was when I started. However, I knew there were risks,
Yeah.
and I won't say they fucked it up. Look, if you need the surgery and it might make it better, unless like if the odds are like really heavily against you,
Yeah.
don't do it. But if there's a chance,
All surgeries are roll of the dice.
Yeah.
But sometimes the roll is
Yeah.
heavily in your favour. Sometimes it's heavily against. But then you have to balance it out. If it's a case of we did surgery, you got 20% chance of survival, but if we don't, you'll definitely die. Well, you'll take 20%.
I will take that chance.
Yeah.
If someone says to me like, well, there's a potential that we could correct your vision in your right eye, or you could be completely blind, you can fuck right off. I'll take limited vision versus being completely blind.
Exactly. Yeah.
I've been blind.
But you balance it out, don't you?
Yeah, for sure.
And that's just the way you do it.
You don't go slagging off the NHS because certain things go wrong. I've had loads of stuff go wrong at the hospital, but it was only a couple of years ago. The NHS saved my leg.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the NHS saved my life, which turned into I could have lost my leg had they not have done their job as well as they did at the time. So
every day, hundreds of, if not thousands of people have operations that go fine, but you never hear about it. But then the one person goes in and they cock it up, they make a mistake. You know, he's into have like his toe amputated, they end up castrating him.
Yeah.
And
more people should be castrated these days, by the way.
Well, yeah. And the media make a big thing about it. Oh, NHS butchery, there's another NHS failure. It's like, well, they're only human. They will make mistakes, and you know. Sad happen. No one wants to happen to them, but it's going to happen to somebody.
How many fucking times have they done that surgery that day?
Yeah.
How many fucking people came out?
How many people are they castrating every day?
Well, no, but like, how many people had the correct procedure done
Yeah.
that day? How many people came out fine? How many people were happy with the result?
You are dealing with humans at the end of the day.
Mhm.
And whenever you get a human involved in the process, there's going to be cock-ups.
Yeah.
You can, unless you go to the stage of no human intervention at all, but then the machines are going to be programmed by humans.
Yeah. There's a chance for that to go horribly wrong.
Yeah, it's already happened. There was a radiation dosing machine in I think it was a French-made machine, I believe, and basically it was programmed in assembly, which at the time was not unheard of, though it was a little bit backward, but it was still relatively common back then in this machine. And long story short, basically, it had a failure of one of its interlocks that occasionally it would, rather than like sort of dose them for a few seconds, it would dose them for a few minutes.
Oops.
Yeah, and admittedly though, the actual amount of people who potentially died from it was actually quite low. But what the big issue that was basically someone made a mistake in the programming of it.
Yeah.
And also they had error messages, but the message didn't actually tell you what was going on, just say error 30 or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, that means nothing to anybody.
Yeah, for sure.
So there was an error message there, but nobody ignored it, didn't know what it meant.
Yeah, unless you've got a big fucking chunky manual there, it's not a lot of cop.
Yeah. And by the time you found error 30, you were killing your patient. That's probably a bit late at that point, isn't it? So it was I have to look up, but it was just it was a mistake in programming. And it happens to all. I mean, fucking hell, there's been rockets explode out you because someone put a 16-bit number rather than a 32-bit number in there. Yeah.
Or it takes that, maybe there wasn't enough, that wasn't tightened enough.
Yeah.
Came loose, bang.
Yeah.
You know.
As soon as you have a human involved in the process, things are going to go wrong.
Yep.
And, well, as I've said, the only other side of the coin is as long as, on average, it goes right more than an equivalent person to it. But I drive driverless cars that will be here in the next probably 10 years or so.
Yeah.
They don't have to be perfect. They've got to be better than the average person.
Yeah.
And if they're better than the average person, then overall, great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I agree.
So-
I agree.
But they'll still have accidents. They'll still kill people.
Yeah.
But if they have less accidents, then
I hate to say it to people, but people will die on a daily basis whether you like it or not.
yeah.
We will do. Some of us do it. Literally, just I don't know, kitchen knife. I will take this kitchen knife from my sink to the knife rack. Shit happens.
Yeah. You slip, you fall, you actually cut your wrist, you can't get blood and you
Yep.
bleed out.
Or you end up with a fucking knife in your head.
Yeah.
Like, it's happened.
Yeah.
It's fucking happened.
You know, we've all probably known people who've died. You know, I know someone who had his brother was an Arctic lorry driver, and one day when he was getting his cab, his hand slipped, he fell off his cab, landed his head straight onto the concrete,
Dead.
and dead.
Yep.
It happens. People do unfortunately die, and we all hope it's not us.
Yeah. You can't make everything safe. It's impossible to make the world
No.
safe. It is not a safe place to live.
But the option you've got there is you live your entire life terrified that you're going to die here and me, or you live your life and you just try and be a bit sensible about it.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying just go base jumping every day
Oh, let's be fair. You could live a perfectly sterile life.
and still die of something mundane.
Yeah, you could. Oh look, I've got cancer. Have you smoked? Nope. Drank? Nope.
No,
What?
I rolled my dice and it came out bad.
Basically, well, look at it. There are children that die of cancer.
Yeah.
You know, so you
Sad when
can't.
it happens, but unfortunately, yeah, it
You
happens.
cannot save everyone, which then kind of goes back to our whole school thing. You can't really. You can't. Well, you can polish a turd, but I mean, you know, there are just some people just aren't going to go.
There are some
far as you
people
want.
who I have met in my life, and we've all met in life, who, for want of a better word, are just stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not. No, you're not. No, you're not one. And
Oh, I try.
It's. And the thing is, again, it's not something you should hold against somebody. If somebody just will never get their head around something, they'll never get their head around it.
Mm-hmm.
They may be really good at something else.
Or it might.
So
it
you
might
have
be,
somebody who has a maths level of only being able to do, you know, addition, subtraction, but can't multiplication maybe, but anything to do with anything about they just can't get their head round.
Yeah.
And they've tried, and if the school system has tried,
Mhm.
and they haven't got on with it, that's just not for them. But they might be, you know, the world's best florist.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, perhaps composer.
Mhm.
There's nothing to be ashamed of being stupid at one thing. There are
You might
some.
find that they can't spell or write to save their goddamn lives, but my god, they can fucking build anything from scratch. Like, take them to the workshop,
Yeah.
and right now, I know people who can't read but could strip your engine and have it put back together
Yeah.
in the day, run sweet as a nut. Couldn't read to save their fucking lives though, but they can do it.
Yes.
They can do, you know, mechanical engineering. Nailed it. Fucking nailed it.
Exactly. So everybody has their good and their bad bits,
Yeah.
but I mean I've met some people who are truly stupid, but they are by far an incredibly small, tiny percentage of people who exist in the world.
Mhm.
Thank
Can't save everyone.
No, you can't. No, and you do. There are people you wonder, you think, how did your genes propagate through the gene pool this many years?
But
generations?
then I'd also like to throw out there are some people who can't help it for medical reasons.
Oh,
or whatever.
no, I'm not
But
talking
then there are
about-
also, but then you also have to understand that these days, as I said before, it doesn't matter what qualifications these people have if they don't have common sense. They're fucking idiots in my eyes.
Yeah.
Average Joe public. Right, if you're late, you've gone into town, you get a car park ticket, so you're
Yes.
paid for a certain amount of time. You come back 20 minutes late, you got a parking ticket. Do you have a go at the warden?
You might be pissed off, but you shouldn't have a go.
Whose fault is
you
it?
might-
Yours or his?
Well, yours, obviously.
Hmm.
You might have a grumble, you might get in your car and think, for fuck's sake, I've got a fucking ticket.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, at the end of the day, he's doing his job. You've not abided by the rules that you agreed to. You went in there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I got a parking ticket a few months ago. it was a car park. It used to be a free car park, and then they switched over to requiring you to pay for it.
Yeah.
And I went there one night at 10:15. I saw the pay display box. The car park was empty. It was 10:15 at night. I thought, no one's going to ticket me.
Yeah.
It's one of those bloody parking eye things, isn't it?
Alright.
So I ended up, well, I'm a bit annoyed. I ended up getting a £100 fine, which came from the land. My father found a letter, didn't realise it was for me, put it on his chest of drawers, and probably forgot about it. And then
So that went up.
4 weeks later, I get another letter through, and I thought, where's the first letter? And it's on chest of drawers. Of course, that gone up.
Yeah.
It's like, thanks.
So,
That's not the first time he's took a letter of mine, not realised it's mine, and put it on one side, and then I've never seen it.
We got a parking ticket today, actually.
Did you?
Yeah. Our fault completely. We were.
Also, we're going to have wrap a mix on about the one I have
yeah, sure.
the memory card
We
space.
were 20 minutes late. We were there as the guy was putting the ticket on the car.
Yeah.
And he said, "Look, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry, but I've got to just take a picture of this and then write this out for the receipt."
To be fair, it gave you 20 minutes.
Yeah, and that's what and that's what we said to him, because we were like, "Well, when did the parking thing expire?" He said, "Yeah, it was 20 minutes ago." I was like, "Dude, we were late. No big deal.
Yeah.
You're doing your job." He's like, You're the only people that have been understanding about this. I was like, "You're doing your job. I'm not going to give you shit for doing your job.
Yeah.
We're late.
Yeah.
We made the mistake. We didn't even note when we came here, so we had no idea when we had to come back. As luck would have it, we're late. You gave us a ticket. We saw you doing it.
Happens.
We're not going to shout at
Shit
you. Right?
happens.
You know, it's done. Let it go."
Yeah.
A lot of people need to really let go of the fact that you're not the center of the universe.
No.
You'll die tomorrow, and you could die tomorrow, and in 20 years you'll be forgotten.
Yeah.
No one gives a fuck about you.
Yeah.
You do not need to go into businesses, shops, whatever. You do not need to belittle everyone just because you are the customer.
Yeah.
The customer is always right. Bullshit. The customer is always an asshole.
Yes.
For the most part.
And if you are going to go play a shop, do it friendly. Go and say, "Look, this has happened. Can you help me out?"
They do not have to
You'll
help you.
get-
They're a dick.
Trust me, you'll get far better response in most rules situations. You'll get far better response by going with honey than you will with
No, I know.
poison.
Yeah.
I don't like.
I know the saying.
Yeah, I've sort of messed up my own metaphor there.
Yeah. It's one of those. I mean, like I normally try to be a good customer, and only a couple of times have I been a dick. And I'll tell you something. I've always apologised if I've been a dick.
Yeah.
Like I remember, like even Amazon. Like if I haven't got a geezer on the chat box on Amazon, when it comes to the end of it, I'll always say, "Thanks for helping me. It's very much appreciated. It's not quite the result I want, but thank you."
Yes.
I might start like a bit of an asshole, but I'll cool off partway through. And then at the end of it, always give them a shining review because they did their job. They didn't have to put up with me being a cunt. When I go into a shop, I ain't going to be an asshole to someone that's working there just because they're working there. It might not be a job that I do, but if they weren't there, I couldn't have what I wanted to have.
Yes.
If it weren't for the picker-packer at Amazon, I couldn't get what I wanted. If it weren't for the delivery guy doing his job, even though he's having a shit time, I wouldn't get what I wanted. Stop looking down on people just because they're doing something that you're not.
Exactly. And on that note, we best wrap up because I'm about to run out of memory card space.
Marvellous.
So we've managed to add an extra 2 hours and 45 minutes onto our podcast. So it's going to be a 3-hour podcast.
Well,
so
you just cut the end part and just have this as the post show.
yeah, that'll be the outtakes. So very much for watching.
And see you all next time.
See you next week.
Yeah, next week.
Yeah. Bye. Stop that. How much memory? I can't remember how much time I had left on that.
Not a clue, but
Just thinking about it.
the live stream's still running, isn't it?
Yeah, it is not. I'm now about to end the live stream.
Live stream.
We had 10 minutes 37 seconds left. I knew we didn't have a lot of time left on it.
Good times.